Are you going in the Brad thing live? Jesus. I really, really think... I don't know. I just don't know if I've ever seen facial hair that's like... I don't know if I'd call it unkempt. I just feel like it ages you so much. I feel like it doesn't look good at all.
I would like to make a formal video since I did change my channel name from Brad Taste in Music to DJ BTIM, as it does have the original name. The reason I did this is because I wanted to basically clear a lot of the junk from the search engine. That was the primary reason, but also at the same time, there was an artistic reason to it, that it felt like I'd gone through a lot and I wanted a different image. So I think it's only right that if I'm going to go with a different image, that I do what's fair and just say, you know, on camera, face right here, I was Brad Taste in Music and I really screwed my life up, man.
Your pal Jay Shapiro is all over his comment section saying he wished he debated someone better on the topic, but no one better will talk to him because he's the coat master. Wait, what?
And yeah, I did irreparable damage and I'm dealing with stuff still privately, and it's nothing that you guys should be worried about. You know, just worry about the music, and if you're not feeling the music, just unsubscribe, and I get it. All right, peace. That's it.
Has he been, like, trying to produce content in the meantime? Ever since his, You've killed me incident? Did I end up covering the Cat Sky last night? No, not yet. I'll get there, maybe.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out!
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day!
So last time we talked, last time I saw you, we were at a cage fight at the White House.
That's right.
Real talk, what are the chances Trump actually announces the senator's illegitimate in Georgia? And will anyone even care? I don't know. Unironically, this is one of those moments where I think you legitimately can say the fact that we even think that's possible kind of shows us where we're at. Jesus Christ, bruh.
That's
one of the craziest experiences of my life. It must have been one of the craziest experiences of your life.
Oh yeah, it took me like 2 weeks afterwards to recover, just to like go, did that actually happen? It seems so insane.
Okay, the most insane part of it, which I guess was before you got there, to me at least, is like you come into work every day in the White House, right? You know, I have an office in the West Wing. There's the Oval Office in the West Wing, and you look out the window, and as this like 8-story complex was growing up, it was just the most unbelievable thing. It's like the South Lawn of the White House, but you've got the 8th wonder of the world being built up around it. And every day I'd look at it and be like, it would take me a couple.
It feels like Trump may pull something off because people won't expect him to be so blatant. In some sense, similar to J6. There's a lot of power in just acting, which Trump seems to get. The thing is that like, I don't even know what. Trump doesn't even use Congress, so does it even matter? And then if he says the senators are illegitimate, I don't know. Also, what? It's hard to communicate how much I hate talking about politics right now. Okay, every day is a slog. It's forcing me to do it. I'm sorry. I gotta. Is it normal that the governor appoints the dead husband's fucking wife to serve the remainder of a term instead of calling a special election? Is that a normal thing? Like what? I didn't even want to look up the president for this. I'm worried I'm just gonna get fucking triggered. Is that what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, sister, not wife. Sorry, my bad. This is Lindsey Graham we're talking about. I don't know. Maybe. I guess at least he didn't try to sell the seat like the for Obama. Didn't that happen? Maybe it's normal to appoint somebody. Okay, all right. Then it's not that bad. Then fine.
Seconds, they'd be like, what the hell is going on? And they were like, oh, yeah, it's UFC. It's UFC coming in a couple weeks.
The whole thing was surreal.
Yeah.
First of all, it was crazy that the weather just went around us. Like
This kind of inconsistency in legislative procedural stuff on a state-by-state basis is fucking cancer and needs to be reformed. Yeah, I guess some rules need to change. It reminds me of, but there's a scene that lives in my brain, and I swear I had the concept before I saw the scene. Is this the scene I'm thinking of?
Please. Is that a copy of our Constitution?
Yes. You know this document?
Yes, I do.
I have many questions.
Well, that's a good thing. Hopefully, over the course of the week, we can...
For example, it says here, President shall be commander of Army, Navy, etc.
Yes.
Here, it says Congress shall have power to declare war.
Yes.
Commander does not declare war?
Theoretically, Congress needs to...
Theoretically. So, your habit is to ignore document.
No. Well, occasionally.
Good morning. How you doing?
Excuse me.
Good morning.
Toby, good to see you. Grab a sandwich and listen in. I think I'm managing to pick up a few phrases. It's not all that different from Polish, actually.
Still on a lunch break.
They love the roast beef.
You're giving them a 2-hour lunch after wasting the morning on a system of government that's never going to work for these people.
I wouldn't call it a waste.
These guys have to walk out of this building on Friday with a set of laws to take back home to Minsk.
Not a set of laws, a sense of the rule of law.
You're not planning on writing a constitution this week?
Are you familiar with Mayor versus State of Nebraska?
Nebraska passed a law making it illegal to teach anything other than English during World War I. Meyer wanted to teach German. Supreme Court said the law was unconstitutional.
Good. Now, where in the Constitution does it say you've got a right to teach German in school?
You're saying the document is irrelevant?
No. I'm saying the document is just the beginning. A constitutional...
Wait, what's going on?
Now, where in the Constitution does it say you've got a right to teach German in school?
Oh.
You're saying the document is irrelevant?
No. I'm saying the document is just the beginning. A constitutional democracy succeeds only if the Constitution reflects democratic values already alive with the citizenry.
Yes, but these Belarusians don't have those values.
Which is why our most important job is to instill those values in their leaders through discussion and debate.
You're talking about 8 guys on a sightseeing trip to Washington. You think you teach democratic values to these 8 guys, you're going to reverse 50 years of brutal dictatorship?
Mr. Helicorn was known as the only honest legislator in the government. Mr. Lepecki is the most respected judge in the country, and Mr. Zubikov, well, Mr. Zubikov is the editor-in-chief of Sovetskaya Belarusia. His articles helped bring down the last dictator. How many guys do you think it takes?
It was that concept of like, it's not for the law, it's for the rule of law or something. Like, maybe there is probably some stuff that we can change legally speaking, but like, the Conservative Party right now is just fucking out of it. It's just insane, bro. What do you want me to, Kafka? What do you want me to say, Brady? What do you want me to say? It's just crazy. Locomotive nearly engulfed in flames and Ontario fires. This is what the libs want you to be trapped on, by the way.
This has gotten a little scary.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah, this is...
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
You guys gotta go backwards. Go.
Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I'm telling them you were notching up.
This could...
The libs want to tell you to keep your AC at 78 in weather like that, by the way. True. Me, when my AC is set to Mamdani approved levels. I like how these same fuckers will be like, you need to be ready to give the ultimate sacrifice for your country. That might even mean your life. We have to get drafted to fight wars. But then it's like AC at 78. Kill me, fam. I'd rather kill myself. vaccines? Kill me. Never. Oh, and then I'm getting trolled in my DMs with retarded shit to watch because I already know what this is going to fucking be.
Mr. Clayton, welcome.
Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry. I say that sarcastically. I appreciate you. Thank you, Jen.
Welcome. Congratulations on your nomination. You have an obligation to be honest and forthright with this committee, correct?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. All right, I heard this Ossoff guy talking a while ago, and I was like, okay, I guess. I'm majorly simping. I'm feeling that the simp dream. This guy is pretty crazy.
Mr. Clayton, welcome. Congratulations on your nomination. You have an obligation to be honest and forthright with this committee, correct?
Yes.
And is it...
By the way, the only reason Ossoff is in office, don't forget this, is because we went and canvassed for him for a month or whatever. I don't know how many events we did, but it was only because of us, right?
The case in the Juan Orlando Hernandez case that the President of the United States pardoned...
Destiny, it's like a husband who says, I'll do anything for you, babe, anything, but then shits himself when the wife asks to film him giving a blowjob to her boss so she gets a promotion. True.
Man who had worked with the Sinaloa cartel to facilitate massive narco trafficking into the United States.
I don't remember the specifics of that case.
He was convicted in your district.
He was convicted.
Yeah.
We convict a lot of people for a lot of drugs.
Convicted of narco trafficking, yes?
There's a crackling in the background noise of this video. Please do not watch this or fix it. I cannot fix it. I don't know why Congress fucked their audio up. I'm sorry.
But I believe
No,
so.
so at massive scale, yes?
Well, you're telling me what I know. That's kind of, he was, I believe, look, I'll take your word for it. He was a convicted narco trafficker.
Did the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, pardon a convicted narco trafficker?
I believe we just discussed that. The President provided a pardon, yes.
Yes or no? Did the President of the United States pardon a convicted narco trafficker?
Yes.
Who won the 2020 election?
You know, I'm not going to do that.
All right, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
Okay.
Cool. Are you live?
Yeah.
Perfect. Folks, the shirts, the first batch of shirts are shipping this week. So if you filled out the form, if you've been a good egg, your shirt will be shipping out this week. And if you still have not heard anything, if you're still unsure what's going on with your shirt, please email merchandise@digitalgroundgame.org. There's no cutoff, okay? If you donated $100 and you didn't see the email, it went to your spam, or you just forgot, that's okay. We're committed to still getting everyone their shirt, so just help us help you. If you don't know what's going on with your shirt, if you haven't filled out the form, please email merchandise@digitalgroundgame.org. When the first batch does ship, we will email everyone whose shirt did ship. So, but if you've already been in contact with us, please don't email me right now. But later this week, an email will go out to everyone whose shirt is being shipped.
Based.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Have fun. Be careful.
Awesome. Love you, boys. GG. And girls and everyone.
Be careful.
With you.
This is a job interview. We've established that you have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee. Yes, you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee?
Yes.
Who won the 2020 election?
Like I said, I'm not going to get into that with you.
But you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee.
Is anything that I just said not honest or forthright?
Yes, you're not being honest or forthright. Who won the 2020
I think I've answered
election?
the question. We can keep doing this.
Well, we're going to keep doing it because you're not being honest and
No,
forthright.
I'm not
with
going
the
to
committee.
engage in the theater.
It's a simple
As
question,
he engages in theater.
Mr. Clayton.
And I've answered
Who
it.
won the 2020 presidential election?
I've answered it.
You're here asking for the support of senators to lead America's intelligence community. We've established that you have an obligation to be honest and forthright with this committee and with the American public, but you refuse to answer a simple matter of fact about the 2020 election. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
Then answer the question. Who won the
I have
2020
answered-
election?
I have answered the question.
Answer it. What is your answer?
I've given you my answer.
What is your answer? You refuse to answer a basic question about who won a presidential election,
No,
but you ask to lead America's intelligence community? Isn't it humiliating to be unable to answer this question, to have to indulge the president's delusions? We know, you know, everybody in this room knows the truthful answer to that question. Why can you not give it?
I think I gave you the answer.
Are you aware that Director Gabbard was present at the Fulton County raid in Georgia earlier this year?
You discussed that with me yesterday in your office.
Are you aware?
Answer the fucking question.
in Georgia earlier this year?
You discussed that with me yesterday in your office.
Are you aware that Director Gabbard was present at the Fulton County raid earlier this year?
You brought it to me. My
What is
attention
going on here? You've said at the beginning of this you have an obligation.
Is he? I forget. What is Ossoff's background? Was he a lawyer ever, or? Investigative journal in Britain. Wow. Oh no. Sorry, hold on. Because this is politics in real life. This is a real life oh my god. I read that and I was like, wait, is this fucker British? Am I going to find an interview where he's like, oi mate, my limey, oi me, parliament. One day I'm going to learn a British accent offline just so I can make fun of these people, okay? Okay, just curious. This you can't. You're supposed to answer a question, not do this tricky dicky bullshit. We spoke about that yesterday. Answer the fucking question so that you can go to the next one. Piece of shit.
To be honest and forthright with the committee, I'm asking a very simple question. Are you aware that Director Gabbard was present at the Fulton County raid earlier this year? Yes or no? Are you aware?
I was.
You won't answer that question either.
I just said I was made aware of it by you yesterday.
The first time you learned that Director Gabbard was present at that raid was in my office yesterday?
It was the first time that, in my recollection, I've thought about it recently.
Pixie at her deposition.
Now, was I aware of it before?
What?
You brought it to my attention yesterday.
Okay.
I had not.
So you had not known.
I had not thought.
You see, that was a good. He's doing a good balance too of fucking like just showcasing like that question. What?
You brought it to my attention yesterday.
Okay.
I had not.
So you had not known.
I had not thought about it until you brought it to my attention yesterday.
Your answers lack credibility. Your testimony lacks credibility. You're being evasive and you're not being candid or forthright. And everybody across the country is going to watch this and know that. Are you aware?
Well, no, because nobody knows what any of these committees are. Nobody gives a fuck on any of this shit, and everybody's fucking retarded. So,
former Director Gabbard testified that her presence at the raid was, quote, requested by the president.
Always been curious about ADHD meds. After a while, do you get used to the effects rendering them useless? My personal opinion, and the opinion of a few things I've read, although be careful on this, is I think that if you have ADHD, I think they will always be helpful to you. I think half the people have to up their dose a little bit until they find a good one. But the people that say that they stop working after a month or two, in my opinion, are looking for that euphoric effect that you just get from an amphetamine high. Don't fall into that trap. Be careful. Don't chase the dragon on that. And the amphetamine high effect does fade, which is fine because ideally you're not looking to get high on your prescription medication.
Candid or forthright, and everybody across the country is going to watch this and know that. Are you aware that former Director Gabbard testified that her presence at the raid was, quote, requested by the president?
I'm not aware of that until now.
Okay, you are now aware of that.
Yeah.
Are you aware that members of this committee are already probing Director Gabbard's potential misconduct in this matter?
No, I don't
know anything.
You're probing it.
Are you aware that the General Counsel and Deputy General Counsel of your office have already...
Is this on my side, or is there a weird electrical clicking on this video Destiny's watching? No, I think it's just your computer.
already provided testimony to this committee regarding this matter?
No.
If the White House Chief of Staff or the President asks you to travel somewhere across the United States and oversee the execution of a domestic search warrant on a sensitive election facility, will you do it? Is that appropriate? Is that appropriate for the Director of National Intelligence?
That's a hypothetical.
We all know it's not appropriate for the Director of National Intelligence. Will you answer the question? Your time has expired. Will you give him the opportunity to answer the question? If he asks you to travel somewhere across the United States and oversee the execution of a domestic search warrant on a sensitive election facility, will you do it? Is that appropriate? Is that appropriate for the Director of National Intelligence?
That's a hypothetical.
We all know it's not appropriate.
It's hypothetical.
National Intelligence, will you answer the question?
Your time has expired.
Will you give him the opportunity to answer the question? Is this not material right now, sir? Is it appropriate for the Director of National Intelligence to oversee the execution of domestic search warrants at sensitive election facilities? Yes or no?
I think you're asking me, as you just said in your first comment to me.
Yes or no? Is it appropriate?
No. You are asking me to comment on a matter that you just said was under investigation.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay, Senator Ossoff, your time is expired.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS.
What is this stupid fucking shit? Kill me. Every video is another stupid fucking thing. What is this? This is going to be retarded, isn't it?
Department of War, at the Department of War,
we have the most elite warriors on the face of the earth. Every single day, you are pushed to your absolute physical and mental limits.
Every single day. What is our military doing? That every single day they're pushed to their absolute mental physical limits. Every day? Really? All of them?
To master the profession of arms. We demand your all, and you give it. But while we invest heavily in our weapon systems, platforms, and gear, our most decisive tactical advantage will always be the individual warfighter. We have a sacred duty to maintain that advantage, which is why we must constantly look for new ways to optimize your performance, your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best. Because it's well-established science that as we age, your performance,
Hold on, sorry.
your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best. Because it's well-established science that as we age, testosterone levels often naturally drop. Under the supervision of our world-class medical professionals, warfighters age 30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessment. It's a health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding as part of their warfighters age 30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessment. It's a health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding this test. Those under 30 can voluntarily choose to get the test as well. If treatment is recommended, it's entirely your choice to receive testosterone replacement therapy.
We're building the super soldiers, the Antifa super soldiers. TRT for everyone. Hell yeah.
This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. We owe our warriors the absolute best medical care in the world, and this program delivers on that obligation. Taking care of your long-term health means ensuring you remain strong, resilient, and capable, not just for your next deployment, but for the rest of your life, so you can thrive long after you take off the uniform. As we know, the modern battlefield is brutal and unrelenting. It requires and demands maximum psychological and mental readiness. And by addressing these health markers early, we're keeping you on the leading edge of lethality and giving you the same level of support that you give this nation, the absolute best. Godspeed, keep going, and God bless.
Good one. I debated last night, but not seriously because it's too late and I'm too lazy, driving to DC. How do I don't know what my suits are made out of, but I feel like the material doesn't wrinkle. It's a very weird material. But I don't know about the shirts, but I'm paranoid about putting them in my suitcase. They're not going to wrinkle in my suitcase, right? I've never traveled with with suits before. Hang them off a handle in your car. Well, so I'm in an airplane, so... How do you feel about this take? Wait, this is a troll picture, right? You need to roll, not fold them when you pack. They look like a wrinkle. Also, you should have an iron plus ironing boards at your hotel room. I feel like the material isn't ironable or something. Or I guess you probably have to put the iron on very, very low. It feels like, I don't know. I don't know what the material is. Like, I have no idea. This is a troll thing, right? Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. Never mind. IMAX is like this. Regular screen is like this. Okay. The Odyssey is a movie where poor people literally see less. I'm pretty sure every single thing you see on TV, you see less of. That's what it means when it says, like, this has been formatted to fit your TV from the original theater version, if you remember that on TV 30 years ago. Well, actually, maybe not anymore, because the TV aspect ratios are different than they were, because TVs now are 16:9 or whatever, and it used to be they're 4:3, and then movies are some weird thing. Oh, true. My doctor friend says the mass TRT is actually going to be a good thing, because I think when you get artificial testosterone injections, one of the things that can happen as a symptom is you produce more red blood cells than you actually need. This is why I was able to figure out that boogie thing. So now we're going to have all of our soldiers donating more blood, which is good. We need more blood. Fuck, I didn't do my emails or messages. Why is the testosterone thing bad? It's for things I've talked about before. Hormones for hormones for people are very complicated. No, they're not complicated. Your natural hormone level, you don't really know what it is unless you've like been doing labs your whole life, or you've got like some baseline. The problem is that like the reference range, so when you test people and you're looking for a normal report back, is very, very large for testosterone. So basically any single person can measure their T and say, my T is low, give me more, and then you get more of it. And at the very least in the short term, it's like going to be, it's like taking drugs. It's going to feel better. It's like it's essentially anabolic steroids, but like a very light version of what like a lifter would do. So you're probably going to be a bit leaner. You're probably going to get a mood boost. You might have a libido increase, but you're also probably going to feel a little bit more aggressive. There could be medium to long-term negative impacts depending on how much you're getting boosted by. It's just unnecessary. It would be the equivalent of like giving like every single person in the military should have like Adderall, because we think that just giving Adderall to everybody is a good thing. And I'm sure if you like do Adderall like in the short term, like for a week or two, maybe it helps, but then in the long term, you just become jittery. Your heart rate increases. It's not, you know. But for the military, it's just going to be like 90% of people just going to be like, hell yeah, fucking TRT me up. Jesus. I can't believe the AutoPen wrote a whole book. Huh, freaking epic. Well, I don't even know what the fuck the point of this fucking tweet earlier was. At first I thought it was trying to be racist, but then it wasn't even racist. I don't even understand. Hold on. Why the fuck does this account tweet so much? Holy shit. What? Patriot guidelines. What the fuck is the last... Okay, I understand this. So stepping on the flag makes you not American. Okay, sombrero equals not American. Well, I don't understand what this means at the bottom. Oh, it's a trans thing. Oh, okay. Jesus, my bad. What was I thinking? Holy shit, guys. My hearing is on the 29th. So that, you know what that means? We're going to know about my court case in 2 weeks. For real, for real.
lot of trouble in a primary school when an 8-year-old encouraged me to do the 6-7 thing. A lot of trouble in a primary school.
Good one.
None of this was fake. I'm tired of hearing that.
I hate Nick.
It was not fake that day. President Trump got shot. Unfortunately, he got killed. And I don't want anybody to forget that. And I was looking right in his eyes when it happened. So I don't want people to forget that. And that we struggle.
Sorry, I have a racist montage that I play every day before I go live to remind me of how much I hate
niggers.
It's a black guy said that, so that doesn't even count as a bad thing.
I hate Jews. Spics and mix. Dagos and chinks. But my mouth to God's ears, I really hate those.
This is a meme that says reason to support Argentinians. I'm guessing in football. I also realize you guys don't get credit for knowing flags and shit. I see now the only reason you know them is because they show up in these stupid fucking soccer games. And it's not like you're watching the shit that's going on the screen. So all you do is stare at the stupid fucking flags all day. Fuck you guys.
Every day. Still. Because we don't have answers.
Looking back on that day in Butler, what do you think the Secret Service got most wrong?
Everything. They didn't pick up the radios. They had no communication. They had no communication with the outside. None.
I read in that report that there were 102 calls, radio transmissions that were missed.
Yep.
It says, instead, we found that Secret Service received only 5 phone calls and 3 text messages about crooks. So they're admitting they got 5 calls and texts and they didn't do anything. But what's your reaction?
My reaction is why? Why? Why wouldn't you have reacted from one? I mean, if they would have held him back off that stage and not let him go, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Crooks himself remains shrouded in mystery. Authorities still haven't publicly identified a motive for his attempted assassination of President Trump. You've expressed belief that the gunman, Thomas Crooks, didn't act alone.
I don't believe there was an...
I feel like I'm losing my mind over my job right now. I don't know. Maybe I just have unrealistic expectations. Well, what's wrong, Pa Hard 47? Fill us in, bud.
Another shooter there, but I believe that he was working with somebody. I believe it was inside. It was an inside job inside the government somewhere.
And this was political?
Oh, yeah.
Political.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Have you seen evidence to that?
Oh, I've been told things, but I've had something that happened with me that just afterwards, and you're starting to put the pieces together, it just made total sense.
What will help give you closure?
When the people who put this all together that day are caught and it comes out.
So if you had a message for President Trump, what would it be?
Just to don't forget us and remember what we went through that day. You know, we're still here and we need answers.
Helen Comparator says it was a year before the Secret Service actually reached out to her. The questions that she did ask, she says they didn't answer them fully, and she's now pleading, reaching out to President Trump, hoping that he will intervene, apply pressure so she can get answers as to what happened here and why.
Wow. Everything is a conspiracy, by the way. Hold on, sorry. Finishing my messages, emails. You guys are okay.
After the project is complete, only 5 permanent jobs remain. 2 Indians, 2 Chinese, and 1 somebody from Nigeria. I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
She saw the thing on the paper and wow.
Nervous. After the project is complete, only 5 permanent jobs remain. 2 Indians, 2 Chinese, and 1
Oh, wait, is that the whole thing? Destiny.
This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries.
Jesus Christ. Who lies more? We fact-checked. Liberals versus conservatives. Jubilee. Teen kills stepdad for uncovering his sick secret. Top laner. First, look at Charlie Kirk Monument, set to be unveiled in Times Square on September 10th. This piece was handcrafted by renowned Italian sculptor Sergio Fernari. This is a troll, right? This is not real. I don't believe it.
Maybe Jank was right.
Oh my God. 11-minute Hassan Slappa. Let's go.
He was telling me earlier he wanted to go after me instead of before me because he actually had a speech prepared. What a passionate one that was. Thank you for having me. And more importantly, thank you, as Jank also aptly put, defending free expression, which is supposed to be a fundamental pillar of Western liberal democracy. And unfortunately, it brings me no pleasure to report to you that Western liberalism is failing. And that is precisely because Western liberal capitalist democracy is failing. Now, many of you have probably heard me deliver this speech tenfold in a million different directions. And maybe some of you actually heard me deliver this speech inside of the hall that you're currently sitting on only a year and a half ago. Because under Tory governments and even under the Keir Starmer government, I was able to enter the country of the United Kingdom without any sort of impediment, without any sort of transgressions, with ease. But when I initially was allowed into the country, the attitude against Israel had not shifted so dramatically. The conversation that I had last time I was at Oxford Union centered around the dangers of the conflation between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, the dangers of the false conflation between Israel and Judaism. This conflation is not only used by the likes of the ADL president, Jonathan Greenblatt. ADL is the Anti-Defamation League. I call it the Apartheid Defense League. But also a conflation utilized by the likes of neo-Nazis such as Nicolas Fuentes.
Does Hassan drink before stuff? He sounds retarded. I think he has this new, I don't know who taught him this or where he learned this, but I guess in stepping up his propaganda game, there's like, I don't know how I would describe this, like Markov chaining together like these blocks of concepts. There's like a way to speak like this where you just have like points and sentences that you want to kind of like hit over and over again, and then you kind of just like change the subjects around every time. I don't know. Watching him speak lately is driving me crazy compared to how it used to be. Ugh.
Now, the only difference there is Nick Fuentes is anti-Israel, and he uses that conflation to foment Jew hatred. And Jonathan Greenblatt, on the other hand, is pro-Israel, and he uses that conflation as a weapon and sometimes as a shield. Now, this conflation has been...
Search up the meaning of inculcation. Refers to the process of instilling knowledge, attitudes, or values into someone through persistent and frequent repetition. Oh, this is what I said he was doing when he kept using certain phrases or words or whatever. True.
Has been used in service of defending the apartheid state, the Zionist entity, for almost 80 years, and quite successfully. And the only reason why it was successful is because most people did not understand the concept of Zionism, and most people were utterly oblivious to the ways in which Israel has dominated the lives of almost 15 million Palestinian people, 10 million under occupation, and another 5 all around the world. But things are changing. Times are changing. Now people are aware of the violence that Israel has brought about the Palestinian population, the ethnic cleansing of the Nakba from 1947 that transcended all the way into 2026. But the final stage and the final solution of this ethnic cleansing operation unfolding in real time in broad daylight on our social media screens, on our phones, on our TVs, in the rare moments that CNN or other mainstream media outlets ever even offered any coverage to it, as the genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza. This genocide is ongoing, and it has caused a seismic shift in the attitude amongst the Western world's youngest. Those who previously did not know what Israel even was now have a very negative opinion. As I like to always note, today is the most popular Israel will ever be going forward. Yesterday, Israel was more popular than it is today. And tomorrow, Israel will be less popular than it is today. And unfortunately for us, there are some consequences. Because while Israel has been able to justify its existence as an unsinkable aircraft carrier in a resource-rich region and a reliable Cold War ally against pan-Arabic nationalism and potential Arab states aligning with the Soviets at the time during the Cold War.
These, like, he didn't know any of this in the past, so somebody is writing these scripts for him as well. This is true, though. They never bring this up. That's how I know he doesn't know this, because he would have brought these up in past arguments, or he would, I don't think I've ever heard anybody besides me bring this up in debates, that in the past, pre-70s, the Soviets were big supporters of the surrounding Arab states of Israel. It's one of the reasons why the United States, especially in 73, was so willing to support Israel. I've never heard him bring this point up before.
Extended all the way into 2026, with the final stage and the final solution of this ethnic cleansing operation unfolding in real time in broad daylight on our social media screens, on our phones, on our TVs, in the rare moments that CNN or other mainstream media outlets ever even offered any coverage to it, as the genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza. This genocide is ongoing, and it has caused a seismic shift in the attitude amongst the Western world's youngest. Those who previously did not know what Israel even was now have a very negative opinion. As I like to always note, today is the most popular Israel will ever be going forward. Yesterday, Israel was more popular than it is today. And tomorrow, Israel will be less popular than it is today. And unfortunately for us, there are some consequences. Because while Israel has been able to justify its existence as an unsinkable aircraft carrier in a resource-rich region and a reliable Cold War ally against pan-Arabic nationalism and potential Arab states aligning with the Soviets at the time during the Cold War, Israel has far outlived its usefulness. But in that same exact time frame, over the course of 80 years, Israel has been able to get unlimited and unprecedented amounts of access into Western institutions. Because without unlimited loyalty, fealty, and unlimited tax dollars being spent, weapons being shipped overseas to Israel, Israel would not be able to exist as the violent entity that it is. Because Israel is an apartheid state. And that's just not my assessment of the issue. That's not just your assessment on the matter. That is the assessment of the United Nations, the international.
Do you think he has someone else write these scripts for him because of all the heat he's catching around how stupid he is? No, I think that I don't know what something changed over the last year where his like the subversive propaganda stuff became way more over the top. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that it coincided with his trips to China and Cuba and Qatar or whatever, or what. I have no idea. Did he hire a research team? No. This isn't research. This is not like intellectual stuff. This is like agitprop stuff. This is like written in a highly politically. I'm trying to think of what is even comparable. Rush Limbaugh and Michael. I used to listen to talk radio guys. They didn't really do this thing. I'm trying to think of like. No. Wait. I don't even know what this is. I don't care. I'm not signed into a Microsoft account, am I? Well, hold on. What? Why won't this message go away? Okay. Good luck. Okay, I'm trying to think of like this I'm saying this and actually I don't know if what I'm saying is like immediately understandable or not. There's this like way that he speaks now. This has been over the last several months, or I want to say since he came back from China, but maybe it was a bit before that or a bit after. I don't remember exactly, but there's this way of speaking where I'm trying to think of like socialism has failed through all of human history. Liberalism has succeeded in every place it's been tried. Socialist leaders always engage in agitprop. Socialist leaders want to make the government rich and you by making you poor. The government wants mansions for their employees and shacks for the working class. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. You have like some set of like things like this. And then there's like these statements that you have, and then every time there's like a news story or anything that pops up, like everything is weaved around these kind of I wouldn't even call them tenets. This, what did that one guy say? Inculcation of like repeating this always. So like, let's say that there's like a story that comes out, and the story is like, the Mamdani tries grocery store experiment in New York. Bodega owners push back. Grocery stores are like massive failures. So like with that as the story, and then I start speaking, it's like, so you have like chunks of the story, and then you push in like your talking points. This like way of, like a very particular way of speaking. So Mamdani has tried and failed, to no one's surprise, to do the socially funded grocery stores in New York City. We all knew it was going to fail because socialism has failed through all of human history. Go figure, the bodegas and all of the other smaller stores in New York City were able to come together once the socialist funded projects failed because, again, as we know, liberalism, as I like to say, has succeeded in every place it's been tried. New York City is no exception. Mamdani has attacked these bodega owners, as we would expect him to, as they always have done, because socialist leaders can do nothing more than engage in agitprop. Remember, the only way that store was going to work in New York City, where you had to give all of your money to the socialist store owner, the only way that was going to work was by you sending your money to the government to make them rich while you live in your expensive housing and become poor. Because, as we know, socialist-style governments have failed in all of it. It's like this, like it, and it's once you like hear it and you know like the chunks of phrases and the talk, it just, it makes my skin crawl listening to this. I feel like I'm listening to like a 1984 prompter. It's so fucking weird, and oh god, it's so like empty and like the problem is that it's like so blatantly. Like you're watching somebody try to rape your mind with propaganda. It's so over the top, blatant, and obvious. And I hate it. Oh God, I hate it. It's so fucking annoying. And he does it, and it's all like the phrases about Israel and the West and the final solution and the neo-Nazis and the
Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, and virtually every single humanitarian organization, including Israeli humanitarian
like
organizations such as B'Tselem.
Good job.
But it seemingly doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter.
Legit feels like reading talking points off a prompter. He has them written somewhere for sure. I don't know how much he needs to refer to them though. If you've spoken like this for a while, I imagine it becomes second nature. Just work them in constantly.
But it seemingly doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter is because the issue around Israel has reached such a boiling point that it's no longer just a matter of foreign entanglements that our governments find ourselves involved in. It's not simply a matter of domestic policy changing on a moment's notice, but this has now become a crisis of democracy because Israel is a fascist state. And I believe that both the United Kingdom, the United States of America, and many other Western liberal democracies are slowly but surely also turning into fascist authoritarian states.
Every single talking point, every single thing this guy does, and it's the same with fucking MAGA, which is even sadder. At least Hassan is like an actual subversive person, and MAGA actually is doing something better. All of it, from the Russian propaganda to the Qataris to the Chinese, all of it is designed to undermine the Western world order. That's what all of it is for. The lib left do not understand this. It is fucking Ro Khanna. Fuck, I cannot believe nobody understands. But I mean, I get it, because if you don't spend all day here, you just don't see it. But like, if you were to try to think out, what do you need to do to weaken the West? Every single thing that people like him suggest goes towards that. How do you weaken the West? Brexit. How do you weaken the West? Destroy Israel. Get out of there. How do you weaken the West? No more Saudi Arabia. U.S. needs to be involved in nothing. Get them out of everything's evil. Everything's horrible. Everything's terrible. Get rid of all the corporations, all the big companies, all the like every single thing aligns with a pro-Chinese or pro-Russia thing.
Liberal democracies are slowly but surely also turning into fascist authoritarian states as well. So while some people in this room might find it funny or might find it amusing that your least favorite content creator or a rabble-rouser such as myself or my Uncle Jank were not allowed into the country, the reality of the matter...
One thing I wonder too, I don't watch him enough to check this. When he's speaking like this, I wonder if he's ever bringing up Mir Asmongold, or I wonder if these are like totally separate things. That would be interesting if that was correlated. If like when he's on these kinds of like little tirades because they're pre-written or whatever, that it's only about whatever propaganda he wants to do or whatever current events thing, and then you don't see any of the personal grievances come up in these. But maybe they do. I'm not sure.
That your least favorite content creator or a rabble rouser such as myself or my Uncle Jank were not allowed into the country. The reality of the matter is this precedent is dangerous. The opaque structure in which our travel was stopped.
What you mentioned about trying to push this at LibCon, are you think you'll find like-minded support or have to debate people / convince people? I think liberals are very far behind on understanding the media environment. I haven't felt any differently about that. I don't think the biggest thing that I think liberals are missing, that from my understanding is, or at least for older establishment types, is they don't understand how intentional and inorganic the MAGA and tanky messaging is. Maybe there are other people that I haven't spoken to yet that do, but legitimately, I don't think they understand the intentional crafting of everything. Yeah.
Structure in which our travel was stopped is scary, not just because our rights were removed, but it's scary because if they can do that to us, they can do that to anyone. And they have been doing it to both yourselves and many others as well. Palestine Action, in a laughable, albeit still scary way.
It's really weird to me because he must be aware that if what he's advocating comes to pass, it's going to destroy basically his entire lifestyle career. I don't know. I mean, he would be part of the elite, right? Like none of the socialist oligarchs in Russia or the Soviet Union or whatever. It's not like these people become poor or anything, right? They would be part of whatever elite class. I don't even know if they think that far ahead. I have no idea what drives them internally. He seems too shallow for it to be genuinely ideological. I really have no idea. I don't know.
Palestine Action, in a laughable, albeit still scary way, was prescribed as a terrorist organization.
Have you ever tried explaining? I do. And I feel like when I start to explain, in the last couple of meetings I have had, people, like I've said, people have discrete concepts. And I think when I start to explain, I feel like the lights start to come on a little bit where there's some recognition. But then the next part of the conversation is hard because then it's like, okay, well, what do you think is the solution? And then when I get prescriptions there, it's very rough. And it's like, well, I mean, you have to be able to have conversations with media people to make them aware of what's going on. And then they have to be on board with some kind of messaging apparatus because the conservatives are, right? And then I've had it where the conversation from there will go a couple ways. But usually I'll hear things like, well, we're a big tent party. So people have like a lot of disagreement. And it's like, it doesn't matter. It's not this, you're past, that's not really the point, right? The Republicans are a big tent party right now. Arguably, it's destroying them. But it's their messaging is like just all on point, yeah. But I don't know.
Albeit still scary way, was prescribed as a terrorist organization a year and a half ago. And since then, hundreds of pensioners, the elderly and the youth alike, have been arrested for simply protesting against the government's prescription by holding up signs that say they support Palestine Action. A government.
Like he doesn't know anything about British politics, but he gets some of the because whoever's writing for him or giving these talking points, he's getting like some of the buzzwords as well, right? When you hear like pensioners and everything, these are lefty or labor, I guess, whatever, left-leaning signaling buzzwords for British politics as he's speaking about his UK ban and everything too. I hate that we have no insight into any of this.
That is willing and able to take such a stringent approach to engage in such unfathomable acts of repression will not stop at Palestine Action. And the only reason why they're doing this is because...
Can you specify what you mean by intentional? The word has a lot of history. What? What I mean is that Republicans at the very top of like Fox News know that they're lying, but they lie on behalf of the party to push the party's lies. And they will coordinate with this from the top down. That's what I mean.
They can't have a real conversation on this issue. They're not doing this because they simply want to offer unlimited support and fealty to the nation state of Israel. They're doing this...
Fealty is important, right? We bow to Israel. There are gods and rulers.
Because they are terrified of democracy. They're terrified of your...
Trying to rebrand and relabel the people's. I feel like that's like always like a key... Well, maybe I'm too negatively loaded. When it was like, we're the people's republic, the people's government, the people's...
Because they are terrified of democracy. They're terrified of your voices being heard. They're terrified of addressing the masses.
I've noticed so much anti-EU/UK bots in Reddit lately giving these talking points. Is it Russia or China? I mean, it's some combination of both. I don't know. Don't read much about China's ops or whatever. I'm sure a lot of it is Russian. At this point, there might be a decent amount that's there might be a decent amount that's organic as well, which is people now have this feeling. But like, if you think about it, when you read about anything in America, the only thing that's ever presented in a good light anymore is the people, and everything else is horrible trash. Like, remember like 20 years ago, sometimes on the internet, there'd be like a video of like, oh, this is how cement is made, or this is how whatever, this is this, or like just like random things. Now every single thing is bad. This is how billionaires borrow against their assets to scam the American people. This is how McDonald's rapes cows to make the beef tastier. This is how corporations buy homes to destroy the foundations to sell them to trans black families. Like, every single thing is bad and horrible. The cops are murdering and raping everybody. The corporations are stealing from your 401ks and taking everything. All of the government is in bed with lobbyists and trying to destroy everything. Like, if you had somebody describe to you the U.S. government now, who's like under the age of maybe any age actually at this point, I don't know where the average person is because they're not always online as much. But for any of the online people, you ask them to describe the U.S. government, and then you were to say, from their description of how things are in the U.S., can you tell me what this society is like? It would envision you're living in like a hellhole, like an actual like despot, authoritarian, like police are murdering randoms on the street, and corporations are literally coming to your house to kill grandma to make room for new illegal immigrants that they're bringing into sex traffic to Epstein Island government. Like, it's just like so much negativity on everything. Yeah, Jesus. I don't know. What are you going to do?
And they're terrified of having to change their foreign policy or even their domestic policy on the whims of the masses. Now, Cenk and I probably differ a little bit in our solutions. He says you have to go out and protest and say free, free Palestine, which I agree with. That's a good thing. But I also believe that given that we have the numbers, that we have the people, that the majority is on our side.
The people. It's just like, it's like the most obvious, like every bad guy in every movie and TV show, every movement I feel in history, like this, the people. I don't know.
That we have the moral position. We also have an obligation to make ourselves unbowed and undeniable, an undeniable force. And the only way to do that is through organizing, is through labor militancy. And this is why I always urge people to not only organize in their communities, and I have personally experienced the successes.
I've had conversations with people in influential positions, but I have a hard time formalizing these issues without sounding schizo. How do you approach it? I mean, I like to give my little conversation style thing to people and then have them look for it. Like, here, this is how I think these are the 4 styles of conversations you can have in media. You should look at these when people talk in the future for doing interviews and see if you think anything lines up. Being able to predict stuff is a hugely like eye-opening moment for some people. It's like, here, look at how these go, and then this guy's gonna have an interview here. Let's see what it looks like, because I would predict it would look like this, and let's see what happens, right? That predictive stuff like that. But I mean, it's like this is like a process over time, and the person has to really want to even engage at this level, and most people don't.
Of even decentralized movements like in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the Democratic leadership in the state and in the city completely left behind the population that had voted for them prior when the Donald Trump administration decided to occupy the city, to punish its inhabitants, to a degree where they ended up killing not only, where they ended up deposing of and kidnapping not only hundreds, if not thousands of non-citizen neighbors, and sometimes even detaining American citizens in the process. They ended up killing 2 American citizens. But at the end of the day, the people engaged in direct action, and they were able to become ungovernable, and they were able to stop the administration. This should give you hope. And there's a lot more that we have. There's a lot more tools that we have at our disposal. Work stoppages.
This is one of his best speeches of all time. Oh my God, kill me.
General strikes and labor militancy overall is the last bastion of defense to make sure that we can defend work stoppages. Administration. This should give you hope. And there's a lot more that we have. There's a lot more tools that we have at our disposal. work stoppages, general strikes, and labor militancy overall.
Work stoppages, general strikes, and labor militancy. All of these are heavily Marxist-loaded terms. None of these had anything to do with why Minnesota was able to expel all the ICE officers, but it was like mass protests and demonstrations and stuff in the street, and it was pushed back from the politicians of the state. But okay, buddy.
Is the last bastion of defense to make sure that we can defend the fundamentals of democracy. And I hope that you guys will feel dissuaded. I know that boycott, divestment, and sanctions initiatives have been implemented in many schools, including in Oxford, and have failed. And there has been an undemocratic process in many of these institutions of higher learning where student governments will sometimes make a decision to deny funds to Hillel on campus that's directly contributing funds to the Israeli occupation forces, units that are responsible for war crimes. They're offering material support to an entity that is doing terrorism to a civilian population. And when the student government body votes to stop this, the government of the school, the administration, steps in and starts punishing the student government instead. This is an undemocratic process, but it should not discourage you. It should only cause you to push further. Because at the end of the day, these are some of the worst people, okay? You don't want to give them a W. You don't want to give them a win. So if you cannot find hope and revolutionary optimism in the face of such inhumane cruelty that you see, that seemingly your peers turn a blind eye to, let spite be your motivator.
Revolutionary.
Thank you.
Oh, that was a prepared speech for this too. Jesus. Ugh. It's so crazy, bruv. Just the fucking it's just crazy how like overt it is. But I just knew ultra wise. Was this ultra wide? Stream layout to trigger you. Holy Giga Chad. Wait, does he crush the screen down here? Like, does he actually crush it? Or is he just cutting stuff off? Or do you think now he has foreign help? I have no idea. I don't know. I do know he's collaborating with somebody, but I don't know who or what. Illuminator, thank you for the 5 good subs, buddy. How do higher learning institutions just not even realize what's happening with that messaging? Well, this, I mean, for the union stuff, these aren't like the schools themselves. They're like student bodies in the school. It's not like the school was making a decision on anything. It's just the student bodies in the school, which we can theoretically invite anybody, so. We're covering more scouts today? Yeah, we might later. Okay, hold on. We'll get to this Joe Rogan thing in a sec.
Detroit News, 15 minutes ago, Detroit News, sample 500, U.S. Senate, Michigan Democratic primary 2026, Haley Stevens at 48%,
Wait, we watched this last night, didn't we?
Abdul El Sayed at 41%, undecided, and other at 10%. We'll flip that.
Oh, I think we did.
It's expected. Good results for Stevens, although it's worth noting that Glenn Garriff has been consistently strong poll for her this primary. They've had her ahead in every survey they've conducted so far. I don't know that.
The issue is the university/academy is the pretty significant leftist takeover of certain political science departments and social sciences more generally. Maybe, I don't know.
Their methodology, but I would expect this poll to probably underestimate youth turnout.
You're about to see the most racist shit in the universe if El Sayed loses in Michigan. Oh, man. Low information voters fucking up a winnable election for Dems because they get brainwashed by APAC TV ads. More news at 11. Jews and blacks, the closest allies. Oh. 55 earlier, but I'm not insecure, so I don't care if you thank me at all or not. Well, thank you, Xalo.
continue doing trade-in. Would like to continue doing trade-in. This just took place, July 14th, 2026. It seems to me like Singapore is a nation of laws, is a law-abiding nation, is a nation of laws and order. Singapore law firms are extremely expensive and their law system don't play around. Pegasus would be cooked really fast and lose badly and get at least 2 years in prison. That was, of course, a cigarette, which I will be throwing out in a bin. I would never discard of trash.
What is it? The Pegasus guy just makes videos on Hassan? He hates him so much. What am I missing there?
In the beautiful nation state of Singapore, by throwing it to the ground, I would never do that because I respect the laws.
They're just joking, guys. We're just joking. Get him caned. Get him executed. Of course, perhaps even more canings. That's my new name now, apparently. And the funniest part about all of this, on the 0.0001% chance that this deranged psycho is even allowed into Singapore, you would be the one more likely to be caned in this scenario, I'd say.
What? Singapore, the beautiful nation state of Singapore, do you see this? He is issuing a direct threat, saying that I would not be welcome, that my money is no good. Look at the suit. I am an international shipping magnate.
I don't think people get executed for making YouTube videos. That's more likely for drugs, you fucking moron.
He must be on drugs if he's saying such things. I don't even understand it. Through libel suits is necessary because public confidence in a corruption-free government underpins Singapore's success. Very, very interesting. I mean, he's a criminal, and he's obviously put me in a great state of emotional distress over his many, many years of cyber stalking, mass harassment campaigns, and defamation. There's a litany of defamatory statements.
Where are all these mass harassment campaigns against Hassan? What is he referring to there?
That he has made, and of course, the beautiful nation state of Singapore will probably put an end to this criminal behavior, and racism. I forgot. What? I can't believe I forgot. We forgot that he's also racist. That's such an important part. Isn't there a racism statute? Lee Kuan Yew would be so disappointed.
Moving on to Diet Hassan, aka Noah Samson, the Ethan lawsuit has actually been dismissed.
I think there's something really funny about the fact that he just sounds like such a goddamn nerd. I can't get over it. Like, I don't know if this is partially because we've just expected worse and worse content in our endless bottom of the barrel slop quest. But like, I can't find myself sincerely tuning into a guy that sounds like this. No disrespect. Like, he is audibly, how people say you got a face for the radio? He's got a voice for being quiet, I guess. I don't know what he would be on. He's got a voice for print media.
They are insane. Look at your chat. We got Mount.
Get Pegasus executed, Lamau. Yeah, this is real. Yeah, Mountain Griddle actually wants to kill you, man. He's not that fat Lamau. That fat Lamau right there. Also, Smoke Zazabert. Is Hezbollah not a part? ISIL, obviously, understandably. Wow. So Hamas and Hezbollah are not considered terrorist organizations in the beautiful nation of Singapore. Huh.
That's a Hassan step going.
So that definitely would open him up for slander. He's slandering you as a terrorist supporter in a nation that does not designate Hamas a terrorist organization. Frankly, you might be able to return to business.
Why do you think he actively attacks this dude on stream, but you're still vulnerable? I don't know. There's something that exists here that I just don't know because I haven't watched enough. I'm not sure what their beef is. Maybe he feels like he has some kind of, does he have connections in Singapore or something, or thinks that Singapore can get him in trouble more than anything
the good
else?
nation of Singapore soon, provided the lashings are recorded and disseminated publicly. Yes, his audience collectively have the IQ of a sea cucumber, like all together. Have you seen his comments, dude? I mean, first of all, they think he's funny. They think he's intelligent. They're unsalvageable.
Idea that some.
No, the answer is clear. Okay. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Cane to ass. In Long, senior minister in the Prime Minister's office and member of Parliament for Ang Mo Kio, who happens to sign his own post with his initials LHL. I will be asking him that question. I'll say, hey, sir, you're a wonderful guy. Wow. Mutuals, by the way. Mutuals with Ben Rhodes.
He's very small, so he can crush him. He's not that small, no.
My friend, Ben Rhodes, also known as Ben Hamas Rhodes. More Pegaslop. More Pegaslop.
I didn't even bother responding. I'm not getting baited by this fucking retard. Sean. neo-Nazis when you cover a story of a 43-year-old American leftist who got with a 28-year-old asylum fraudster who was clearly scamming her, and how she posted about nonstop about him until killed her, then fled back to the country he was pretending to be a refugee from. What? How is he a scammer if he murdered her? Isn't that the worst scammer ever? Like, I've got this sick idea. I'm going to scam this white woman. Okay, what's the scam? Well, after I get her to fall in love with you, I'm going to bring her to this country and then first-degree murder her. What? Epic. That's an epic scam, bruh. I'll watch this a bit. I don't know if I can make it through this or I'm going to get triggered, though. Then we'll see this Joe Rogan episode. Oh, boy.
Dilemma Podcast, Jay Shapiro here, and I'm going to play another section from my debate with Destiny Stephen Bennell, hosted by Paul P.F. Chang. And this one is about when Paul asked me to lay out sort of my general argumentation that Zionism ought to be seen as a colonial project, and therefore the resistance to it is an anti-colonial and sort of morally sympathetic anti-colonial resistance movement for all that we could say about how that's being done, et cetera. And so he asked me to do that. But stick around at the end, because this is the passage, and I'm going to let it play for a bit, that Destiny's crowd certainly had the most problem with my emphasis on. And so I'll be back at the end to give you a little bit more context in response to some of the criticism I got for this.
I know that the kind of the underlying issue of colonization is relevant. Maybe also we can touch on, and I don't know if this is part of what you want to go after, Jay, but because there was dispute, I think, at the beginning of whether or not, the fact that Israel is the Jewish state, that's what's philosophically charging it here, or that's what's charging it emotionally, versus some other factor of, so we can talk about those issues. But yeah, Jay, if you want to, what is your kind of assessment on the, underlying philosophy here? And I will be right back, but go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so I made this argument recently in an essay that and actually I used the exact photo you're talking about, the hostage on the back of a pickup truck or whatever, that everyone just kind of knows immediately, and she looks so horrified or whatever. And I did the sort of forbidden framing of being like, well,
he's
you
just
call
replaying
that,
the whole
Islamic
debate
people, but yeah, it's to their moral benefit anywhere to go home. So how are we going to,
coming of age, coming again caliphate, or this unified, like pan-Arab idea,
but ushered in, and again, not to their liking. This isn't to say they were fighting, murdered by the Zionist when he is a path where Muslims and Jews lived together fine for thousands of years. I think that's always an exaggerated story of the Jews, in these countries.
Sure.
And that's the path. And I don't think I'm just bullshitting it because I, like you, also want a solution. I think there's historical, philosophical, and moral truth to what I just laid out. So I just want to speak a little bit more about the colonialism thing here, because I got a whole bunch of comments from Destiny's crowd thinking that I somehow am like erasing or downplaying or diminishing or non-European horrors or colonialism or history of, slavery or domination or exploitation in other forms. And I think it's a very strange claim and a very strange charge coming my way. But first I want to notice something there. I don't think anybody's disputing that Zionism is or was a colonial project, or at least underwritten and implemented in the world by overtly racist colonialists. And
everybody was racist back then. Number one. Number two, I don't think you could call it a colonial project. It just doesn't. In too many ways, it just doesn't map on cleanly. I don't think. Like who colonizing for
What
who?
does this guy mean when he says he's an anarchist?
When he says what?
He's an anarchist. What does he mean by that?
It's in my mind, I just interpret it as hates the West. That's what I don't know. I don't know what anybody technically means by that.
As I kept saying, the mentality and the actions and policies that go with that, from Balfour to Churchill and the quote that I read onward, Zionism, for better or worse, was signed by those people. And so I think that shouldn't be ignored. I don't think anybody has ignored that. So if you accept, again, I'll get to this charge that I'm getting here that I think is about me, but if you accept that Zionism is colonial, or is worked hand in hand with racist colonial projects, racist colonizers, well, then it ought to face resistance, which it did and continues to do. So that's about all you need to do to accept the claim, at least the starting claim. And again, it's more complicated than that, but the starting claim that Palestinian resistance in all forms is a resistance to this form of colonialization.
In all forms?
But what's strange to me is people thinking that I'm like obsessed with European or white colonialism or something and nothing else. Like I said nothing about, Chinese or South American or other forms of domination or whatever, but I do think this is very strange, this claim. Because what else am I supposed to talk about?
It's not strange at all, because I thought that was one of the weirder moments of the debate. He in a very weird way, he explicitly said, I want to define colonialism in a way that basically only encompasses Israel. And what did he give the year? Did he say 1897? He's like, I want to freeze the world just at 1897. And it's like, what? Okay, why? I don't know. That's okay. What?
In a debate and a conversation about Zionism other than European colonization as a specific, not like unique evil in the world, but as a specific historical epoch, which we are clearly still living through. I think we're on the other side of the map breaking apart, right? So when I say something, we are clearly as a specific in a debate and a conversation about Zionism other than European colonization as a specific, not like unique evil in the world, but as a specific historical epoch, which we are clearly still living through. I think we're on the other side of the map breaking apart, right? So when I say something like, go back to the year 1800 or something and take a look at the political arrangement of humans and nations and whatever on earth and the way economies are looking, that is an overtly European-led colonized world, right? I think that's hard to dispute. It doesn't mean it was the only evil happening in the world, but certainly was a dominant force worth talking about. And Zionism, not being birthed in South America or wherever, being birthed in Europe, in concert, going to meetings with these people, trying to win favor with these people. What am I not supposed to be talking about European colonialization here? Am I not supposed to be looking at that as a major dominant historical epoch? And yes, tied to, I think, the industrialization and capitalism that was really taking hold in Europe, kind of supercharging this world for worse, I would say, not for better. Of course, there's arguments about the civilizing mission of colonization, et cetera, that you still hear from time to time. But am I not supposed to be talking about this when I talk about Zionism? I really don't quite understand the charge there. And so assessing the world of overt, unapologetic colonization, which is, again, European-led, those were the metropoles, and that world breaking apart into the whatever we're going to see next, hopefully liberation from that, I would argue, unliberated and unfree world. What that looks like, if we actually get there, if that involves nation states, and which it seems to be the phase that we're in now, in World War I and World War II, and hopefully not many, many more. I think it's not a stretch to say that we're living through the historical epoch of that world breaking apart into what comes next, which I hope is a form of deeper liberation, which is not defined through states and nations. Always it could be personal liberation, whatever it looks like, and it's very messy and it's very violent. And, I don't think there's anything. I'm not saying anything strange there or putting too much emphasis on the racist, evil, exploitative system of European-led colonization there. That again, Zionism indisputably was a project of. Maybe.
Okay, what? This is holy yep. Okay, I don't care. Never mind. Josiah said, "Did you see Jack Posobiec versus Brian Tyler Cohen on Piers Morgan, which Jack straight up says, or he straight up lied and said Pizzagate, he wasn't a Pizzagate conspiracy theorist?" Oh, I have not. Wait, I do want to see this. We didn't watch this. This was a while ago. Didn't is it this one? The Bulwark. No, I just want to see his whole. Link me the episode on Piers.
Put the Joe Rogan in the bag.
No. Oh my god. I clicked an Imager link on accident and my whole fucking shit is frozen over here. Okay. Where are my linkers? Where's the one-on-one? I just want the one-on-one interview from Piers' channel, not from Tim Miller's perspective, the one that got posted on Piers.
The people are yearning for a pop song.
No, fuck that. It was on the Bulwark. Like, Piers went onto the Bulwark? It wasn't a Piers Morgan show, it was a...
MAGA is now turning on MAGA. This is the movement that you have created.
Oh. Piers Morgan, Tim Miller.
Okay, what do you want me to do? Be a liar?
Let me get a Red Bull, hold on.
shine his turds, pretend like he's something that he's not. I mean, look, if the honest truth is, everybody who goes in to work for Trump and then has a falling out with him and leaves sounds like me. Hey, everybody. We got a doubleheader for you today, and it's going to be a doozy. I've been trying to get Piers Morgan to have the tables turned on him for a while now, and so he booked this date, not planning that the Graham Plattner campaign was going to blow up the night before, and so I didn't kind of want to waste time with him on that. So if you want Plattner takes, we've got plenty of options for you. Me and Sarah over on the Bulwark Takes feed did almost an hour on Plattner alone. The Next Level, which comes out on Tuesday nights. Sam is in for JVL. We're all still sending our love to JVL and his family, but we'll be discussing Plattner more there. We'll also be discussing Mitch McConnell, who...
Wait, is JVL gay? Did somebody say this at one point? Is it like a me? Wait, is Sarah a lesbian? Wait, is everybody at the Bulwark gay? Or am I making this up? No, I'm mixing her up with the one Kara, I think, is a lesbian, right? No, JVL has like 6 kids. Oh, so what? We don't believe in beards anymore? Kara is the lesbian, not Sarah. Wait, Sarah is also gay. Oh. Wait, what the fuck? What's going on over there? These spaces have got some...
is MIA.
Something in the water.
So there'll be some discussion of that as well. So if you're looking for Plattner McConnell Takes, TNL, or head over to the Bulwark Takes feed. On this show, it's a double header. We get into serious business about military affairs in the world with Mark Hertling in segment 2. So make sure to stick around for that. But up first, it's Piers Morgan. All right, he is the host of Piers Morgan Uncensored on YouTube. It's Piers Morgan himself. The tables are turned. Welcome to the show.
I'm a bit apprehensive about this because I suddenly realised you've never interviewed me. And I've had you on my show many times, thank you. But this is like the real poacher turned gamekeeper, as we would say in England.
I love that you're apprehensive. Well, I'm going to start with a compliment. We're going to start, we're going to butter you up at the beginning because we may have some disagreements to get to. I've been trying to have you on since your interview with Russell Brand. It was a real...
You want to hear... Listen, I try not to do the whatever bullshit. Never mind. I heard El Sayed's taxes dropped. I saw that this morning. Apparently he had like 680K last year or something. People were mad.
Moment of professional jealousy for me for this reason. For people who didn't watch it, you were asking him about what Bible verse he was referencing, and let's play what happened.
Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. That didn't hurt, did it?
A little bit.
This was so humiliating. Oh my
from
God.
Isaiah. You're right. Blair did say, be chilled. Sometimes I lose the chill, man. It's pretty.
Wait, people are saying 260K in capital gains? Ooh, I wonder what the ordinary exchange is. Like when you have investments. Did that even... What the fuck I just said? Did that even make sense? Wait. He had 300,000 in taxable gains income, or he paid 300,000 in capital gains tax? Hold on, fuck it. Let's... God damn it. Um, 7A, capital gain or loss. Okay. He had a capital gain of 262K. This means that, so he sold... Well, this could mean anything. We don't really know anything about that, right? We don't really have any information, I guess, about total assets. Yeah, the weirdest thing I heard was apparently half his income is like 300K comes from an other box, and nobody knows where that money's from, but...
He said on Twitter, I think, that he sold like one of his houses or something.
One of his houses? Base? Does that not count as a capital gain or whatever? Would that go somewhere different, or...?
I think that was, he was saying that that was the capital gain.
Oh, okay. Landlord.
Is this? They don't like that, do they, in the old gallery? But remember, you just said it's a hired spot. This is from Isaiah.
Isaiah. Oh, oi, bruv. From Katy Perry, right?
Excuse me. Man, I'm not going to mark it before.
How did he only pay 111K on 600K of income? I'd have to read his whole tax return to tell you, but capital gains at that bracket isn't it only 15%? And then does it go up to 30% past like 600K or something? Federal U.S. taxes. Did he drop any of his schedules, or did he just post the front page of the 1040 or the 2 pages or whatever?
He posted 1 page
of the 1040. Nice. That basically tells you nothing. A capital gains rate of 20% applies to the extent that your taxable income exceeds the... Wait, what the fuck? Was it always like this? Wait, your capital gains rate is impacted by your ordinary income? Or is this, if your taxable income, is that only applied to your capital gains income? Overall taxable income. Overall taxable income. Oh no, this must be just your capital gains income, right? For short term, we're not talking short term, we're always talking long term. When you say capital gains, you're always talking long term. This is the weird thing about you can make arguments for why it's fair or why it's not fair, but I feel like this is the weird thing about how capital gains works. Is that if I'm chilling and I just kind of sit back and I make $500,000 last year from my investments, and let's say I sell all 500,000 and I realize all of that as a gain, then from that 500K, I pay 15% flat tax against that $500,000. If you earn 500K on like earnings like W-2, your effective tax rate is way higher federally without. Also, does FICA apply to your capital gains either? I don't think it does it? Do you pay FICA? That's another 15%, 15.6 or 7.8 if you're employed. I don't think you do, right? Damn! Whoo! Whoo! I don't even know why the fuck I work. Bro, holy shit. Owning capital is actually kind of based. Yeah, that shit's crazy. You could bump these like scheduled, you could bump these posted rates up like 5 or 10 points, I think. I don't think anybody would. Maybe 10 is too high, but I think you could definitely, there are some percentage points that you could work with here where you could increase this, probably increase your government revenue by a significant amount. And I don't think anybody would be hurting that much, but damn. God damn.
Did you watch the most critical video on data centers?
Oh no. Is it good or is it slop?
He's slop.
No, it's gonna be that's gonna be the new populist shit. The new fixation is gonna be fucking AI data centers. Everything is bad, bro. Every single thing is bad now. Every big corporate thing, government thing, health thing, everything is just bad. It's just all shitting on everything. It's so fucking annoying. Whatever.
It says here, the work that the verse that I was
always, like, it's just so fucking, dude. China and Russia are just China, really. Russia's like a crab at the bottom of the bucket trying to pull us under, while China just watches us from above. Hochul enacts nation's first statewide. Hochul. Is it Hochul? Katie Hochul? Hochul? Nation's first statewide data center moratorium. Ugh. Like, hooray. Whatever.
Looking at that.
Is everything not bad? No! All considered, most things are pretty fucking good. But we have real problems that we should work on. People have issues in life that they feel like aren't being addressed. We should address them. But to pretend that like everything is just completely fucked is retarded. And it's not going to help you fix any of the issues. Because everything is not completely fucked. So if you don't even have the right diagnosis, how the fuck are you going to get the right treatment?
The verse that I was looking at that day was...
Your mom.
Not this. I can't actually...
Banging your mom.
I can't actually find the verse that I had that day.
Oh, no.
But this is good enough.
Yeah? Tell us.
This is from Isaiah 12.
That goes on for over 100 seconds, Piers. How did you do that? What was going through your head? How did you summon the will to just sit there?
You must have
and let
personally
him turn
slighted
the
him
pages for almost 2
for
minutes.
Piers to actually hold somebody accountable.
You know, like in our game,
why is a 1-year pause bad on data centers? Because it should be a 10-year pause. I don't know why we would ever build anything having to do with any kind of... Here's what I think. Okay, seriously. I think that all corporations should be banned from everything. And then I think that like this country should be so much better. We should just ban every private thing ever. And all of it. And the CEO should be executed. I just think it would be so based and it would just make this country so much better and stronger and more powerful. By the way, did you know that we used to have a 90% tax rate when civil rights got passed and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X fought alongside Nelson Mandela for the 90% tax rate? When the country was doing its best. That's when the socialists also fought forward to give us the 5-day, 40-hour work week, and then overtime and socialism.
Silence is normally the enemy,
Look,
right?
Hassan now.
I mean, everyone talks about.
Can you react to
dead
the
air.
video, the moist critical one?
What? Can you? I'm watching this. At Destiny, regard, if you're going to talk about New York and data centers, get the facts. The reason there's a pause in data centers is because of a diminishing energy supply, which is a direct result of Trump rolling back the clean electricity credits and stalling the energy supply additions for the last 2 years. If there's not enough energy for it, then just ban it on that. Why would you need a moratorium? Then you just say, oh, we don't approve these projects, we don't have the electricity bill for it. Why are you pretending like this is anything other than people obsessing over AI data, AI. Like every other data center is okay. Like, hey, I'm installing a data center. You're kill it. No. It's hosting. It's just server hosting. Oh, okay. That data center is okay. That data center over there, though, kills the water.
And it can be just a few seconds. When I was at CNN, if you had 3-4 seconds of silence, it was something that they would launch an investigation into. So obviously my team were in my ear saying, you may want to get in now. Let's get in now, because it was as it went on. But I could just sense there was something quite magical unfurling, which was that this grifter, and I think we can safely say he's a grifter, who had become a born-again Christian 7 months after all these allegations flew against him, had gone into court in England clutching this Bible, which had all these little notes attached to it and passages underlined and so on. And so I asked him the obvious question, which was, well...
It was a pause on data centers based on their megawatt consumption. Then the state is fundamentally broken if you need to pass legislation to ban the construction of things that will drain the energy out of your state. You're telling me that there's no check... That there's no check in New York for whether or not your grid can support a project before a project goes online? You can just open infinite things that destroys all of your electricity? There's no check for that at all?
Which of the passages brought you most succor at your difficult moment? And he said, well, there's one in particular. Now, if you were a genuine born-again Christian, and you were really, as he claims to be, completely immersed now in daily life with your new relationship with God and the Bible and Christianity and so on, you would probably remember the verse that you're talking about, which was the one that was most important to you in your hour of darkness. But not only could he not remember it, he couldn't remember where the hell it was in the Bible. So as he continued to rustle, pun intended,
Get it?
I realized this was very illuminating, because I think what it really showed, and this was the view of most people who watched it, was that it's probably all a bit of a grift. And he's not really reading the Bible every day, and he's not really into this quite the way he would like us to think. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that was certainly my feeling.
Think so.
And I
think
learned
you
listen,
got that one right.
And you know what, Tim? After 4 decades of being in the media, it was very unnerving to discover that actually the most powerful weapon I have in my toolbox was silence, and that maybe I should just shut up more.
Yeah. It's also human nature to try to bail people out, even if you realize it's a quasi adversarial interview. Like sometimes you just can't overcome. So I was impressed. You also did The Office look straight into the camera at one point. It was a 10 out of 10. Not all your episodes are 10 out of 10, so we got to hand that out. I got before. I had somebody come up to me. Or a crawfish boil. You probably don't know about those. It's a Louisiana thing. You take these little bugs. You do know about the crawfish boil. Okay. So I'm at a boil. Some guy comes up to me. He's like, "Are you the guy on Piers Morgan?" And I was like, "Yeah." That's only happened to me one time. And no offense to this, Piers, but I was like, "Why do you watch the show? Like, what do you watch? What do you get out of it?" And he says, "It's kind of like for me, Jerry Springer, but politics. I just kind of like watching the food fight." And on the one hand, I understand that. On the other hand, I wonder if that gives you any, I don't know, self-doubt about the seriousness or the value of what's happening.
Well, I think, look, people like Joe Rogan and others have used that analogy of Jerry Springer and politics. First of all, I knew Jerry Springer very, very well. I loved Jerry Springer. I was on America's Got Talent with Jerry Springer. I was a judge and he was the host. We lived in the same hotel, the Beverly Wilshire in LA, for years, and we used to meet 3 times a week for dinner. So same hotel on America's Got Talent with Jerry Springer. I was a judge and he was the host. We lived in the same hotel, the Beverly.
Did they really live in the hotel? Or do you think he means that as a figure of speech because he traveled so much, maybe?
Wilshire in LA for years, and we used to meet 3 times a week for dinner. So when I get compared to Jerry, I take that as an enormous compliment. Jerry Springer was a former mayor of Cincinnati. He was a news anchor for 10 years, very serious news anchor, and was one of the smartest people I've met in my life.
AI should have been capped when they solved the protein folding problem. It literally has no need to go more powerful or bigger than that, in my opinion. Did we solve protein folding? All the proteins have been folded all the ways. Really?
And made hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, his show wasn't for everyone, and I don't think my show is like the old Springer show, except in one sense, which is most people, I think at the moment, get fed a diet through their algorithm or their choice.
Really?
Which is of either people on the left or people on the right, and they're banging a drum which will continually hit the same beat of Trump's the biggest disaster in the history of mankind, or Trump can do no wrong, extrapolated out to all the other issues. And I think that's a problem, actually. And I think it's become an increasing...
AlphaFold folded every possible... That's a troll, right? That's not actually... What's so special about protein folding? As soon as you get into anything in biology where you start talking about proteins, everything goes from being fun and interesting to just fucking cringe and not fun. I think for basic proteins, this is what you learn, okay? You have the little R factory, the ribosome. What this guy does is he prints out proteins, okay? Is it 3 amino acids make a codon? Or is it 3 things make an amino acid? I don't even fucking remember. AAC, AAG, whatever these things are. These are amino acids, right? And nucleotides are like the thing below, right? I don't fucking remember any of my COVID research. So these things come out. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we're like, oh, cool. That's a protein. Okay. But it's like, this is what a protein looks like in your biology textbook. The problem is that the actual proteins that exist in real life are like, can be hundreds or thousands or whatever of these things long. And they do weird things like when you're printing some proteins, like some nucleotides take a little bit longer to process. So as it's being created, also there's like weird polar forces that cause it to like bend and fold and do other things. So like as the protein is coming out, it'll start to fold. And then once it folds, you have to account for every single interaction with every single amino acid that might touch any other amino acid. And there's like it's an insanely AIDS fucking process that is like, I don't know if it's considered NP incomplete or whatever bullshit, but the actual like process of trying to figure out and predict all the interactions is insanely computationally expensive. That was why protein folding was always a thing that was talked about so much in the past. Is it proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2? What was the name of that one paper? It was the first one that everybody got so fucking ass-pained about. Did they show the... I don't think they actually showed any of the... These proteins are just insanely complicated. That's why folding them is computationally expensive. But I don't know if... when somebody says that all the proteins were folded, there's no way that's true. I don't know why I'm asking. I don't know why I'm asking this. Fuck you. But I'm sure there's probably some base level of like doing a whole bunch of folds and ever to figure out what works, whatever that maybe is done now. But
problem in fermenting tribalism, quite toxic tribalism. In a way, we've gone back. We regressed 2,000 years when tribes used to, exist on their own, all shared the same views, all dressed the same, spoke the same, and so on. And then they slowly went out and encountered other tribes, and the only solution they found was to kill each other. And it's a little bit like that, I think, on social media. So I think I actually have a valuable place in the public space in this, which is I sit in the middle. I'm a genuine centrist. I've voted in the past for conservative and left-wing candidates in the UK, for example, from Margaret Thatcher on the right to Tony Blair on the left. I always tend to gravitate towards a leader more than a party, because I think a great leader can make a huge difference, and a terrible leader can have the opposite effect. So I see myself as a centrist. I do love a good debate. I used to get thrown out of my local pub when I was a teenager for arguing with people too obnoxiously on a Friday night after 10 pints of scrumpy. So I do like a good noisy debate.
Okay.
Let me finish my point. So my point being, it's not just about noisy debates. Anyone who watches the show regularly will know we regularly do big one-on-one interviews with, I went to Kyiv and interviewed Zelensky. I've done Trump for several times. I've done Kanye West several times. I do lots of one-on-one interviews with people. Russell Brand was a good example, 2 hours of Russell Brand. So it's not all about the noisy debates, but I do think the debates do one thing, which is really important, which is I bring people normally with big, loud followings on big platforms with lots of followers, and they rarely go at each other. And I think for the viewer, trying to work out where they sit, who's not parked into a tribe necessarily, they at least get to weigh up both sides of an argument. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess it's not exactly like firing line with William F. Buckley, though. I mean, some of the people you're having on are like full of shit.
Well, they are full of shit, but they might be, but they also have very big followings. So I'll give an example. Like someone like Andrew Tate, right, has millions and millions of followers and was clearly for a long time having a big influence over young men around the world. And he's facing very serious charges now. But, if you go back 2 or 3 years, he was probably the most famous person on the planet after Trump. And I took a decision to interview him repeatedly. And 2 things have happened.
Wait, who was?
Influence over young men. Millions and millions of followers. And was
quick, high-level explanation of proteins. Proteins need to fold into specific 3D shapes to function. We want proteins that have a specific shape to interact with targets involved in diseases. So we can predict shapes from its sequence. We rapidly speed up drug discovery. Oh, yeah, that too. That's another weird, annoying fucking thing, is that it's not just the protein. Like, you can get a chain of proteins that's, like, read off. Like, when you sequence... Well, no, you're sequencing DNA and RNA, I guess. But like, even if you have like a protein sequence, like how it folds can impact the way that it actually, interacts with things as well. One of the weird things, I don't remember this because it's so long ago, but with that, one of the weird things with the spike protein for the SARS-CoV-2 virus is that the spike protein, I think, was broken into this S1 and S2, these subunits, and because of the geometric folding and the way that the proteins came out, sometimes it would have these 3 arms where sometimes they would be deployed, which would make them like really easily grab onto cells, and other times they would be hidden, which would make it harder to grab onto cells, but it would make it harder for your immune system to see it, and they could like vary depending on whatever fucking things. But being able to predict, well, when a protein folds, like what's the final, like the geometric shape matters. for the final configuration. Because like if you fold a protein in such a way that there's something that's on the end but is like hidden inside the middle of it, then no cell can ever access it, right? And then when we did that thing with like the furin cleavage site, like all of that, there's just like so much shit that can make proteins complicated, and that's like the basic level shit that I know. And I'm even this is like basic stuff. Like the protein shit can get insanely complicated. It's really cool. I think it's super fascinating, but oh my god.
Clearly for a long time having a big influence over young men around the world. And he's facing very serious charges now. But, if you go back 2 or 3 years, he was probably the most famous person on the planet after Trump.
Fuck, I keep missing this. Wait, who are we talking about?
Influence over young men around millions and millions, very big following. So I'll give an example.
Sure.
Like someone like Andrew Tate, right, has millions and millions of followers and was clearly for a long time having a big influence over young men around the world. And he's facing very serious charges now. But if you go back 2 or 3 years, he was probably the most famous person on the planet after Trump. And I took a decision to interview him repeatedly. And 2 things have happened in the process of those interviews. One, I went after him like nobody else has, particularly about his brazen misogyny. 2, the number of people who watched the interviews came down from 10 million down to under 1 million, showing his deteriorating popularity. And 3, the number of young men who come up to me in the street asking about Tate has massively dropped as well. I think I've played a genuinely significant part in demolishing the bullshit around someone like Andrew Tate by platforming him, but going after him. So my position about platforming people is not that you shouldn't, I think you should be able to platform anyone you like. But if you just give them a free run, you're just giving more fuel and oxygen to whatever bullshit theories they have. I take a view, if you challenge them properly, you're providing a good public service.
I agree with you on the platforming argument. We 100% agree on that. I think it's worth challenging people. Sometimes monitoring your show, my critique is, particularly during this Trump era, I think it was a little bit different when Biden was in because there's plenty of legitimate things to criticize Biden about. But during the Trump era,
I feel like I hear Piers give different explanations when we ask about his Trump stuff, where he's like, well, I'm not defending Trump. I'm not here to attack Trump. I just like host debates and I don't know. But now he's like, I had to take out Andrew Tate, but okay, whatever.
Because there's plenty of legitimate things.
Destiny, there's a meaningful difference between large AI versus server data centers and how they impact the grid. Yeah, the difference is called D's nuts.
To criticize Biden about. But during the Trump era, I'll come on and it'll be like, well, the ICE killed 2 people in the streets. That's segment 1. And then it's like segment 2, we have to find balance. So like, let's talk about some crazy liberal school district in San Francisco where they, tried to take Abraham Lincoln's name off the school or something. And
why can't you do?
Like
but how interesting that you would cite that as an example of something that's wrong. Whereas I would say, Tim, and I love you dearly, and you're great when you come on my show, and I love what you do here. But right there's the problem. You would only want that show to be all about Trump bashing, and that's fine. That's what you do.
I'm just saying you're crazy.
The other story can be just as interesting to a large constituent of my viewers. Yeah. Why would I be so? I mean, should I park myself into the bulwark camp? Should I become a little mini Tim Miller?
Obviously, it's interesting because you're feeding them sucker, to use your words. You're giving them something that's like, hey, you're right. The liberals are crazy. Let's talk about this random person.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, a lot of liberals are crazy.
Well, sure. But a lot of conservatives are crazy.
Yes.
A lot of people are crazy. Humans
are crazy.
Was that intentional? Did anybody else see it?
Random person.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, a lot of liberals are crazy.
Why do you do the 6-7 meme? I saw it.
Sure.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, a lot of liberals are crazy.
Well, sure. But a lot of conservatives are crazy.
Yes.
A lot of people are crazy. Humans are crazy.
Yes.
I'm talking about trying to make a judgment call on like what is important and what is not. And I feel like a lot of times like this idea that these woke excesses, there's some movie, The Odyssey has a black person in it. Like a lot of this stuff is stupid in the grand scheme of things compared to like life or death.
Yeah, but I do think, if you don't mind me saying, again, say this respectfully, there's a little bit of pomposity to that statement. In other words, you have decided you know better than me what you think is important. And I would say that is not necessarily true. A lot of the woke issues actually are things of legitimate mass concern. I'll give you an example.
Am I retarded? Whiteboard erasers now have magnets in them, so you can just have them hold against the whiteboard instead of needing a special tray. Why hadn't they invented these when we were in high? What is he talking about? Like it erases with a magnet? Or you mean like a magnet sticks to the board? It's probably just a little bit more expensive, no? Oh my God.
Ongoing furore around trans athletes in women's sport, for example.
I knew you were going to say
Not
this.
the trans athletes.
How many segments have you had on the show about trans people in women's sports?
Many.
Versus how important that is to people in society. I just think that there's like a... It's out of whack. It's out of balance. I'm not saying don't talk about it, but it's also like, who cares?
Yeah, but this is the classic error that my liberal friends make. And by the way, I'm a recovering liberal, so I sit in the kind of Bill Maher place.
I'm a liberal immigrant, so we're going cross.
But I would say that if you actually go out on the street and asked 1,000 people what they think about that, A, they would care, and B, they think it's complete nonsense. And what my liberal friends do, the terrible mistake you make, I'm afraid, when you try to say nobody cares, is you're missing the fact that they do care.
Yeah.
And it was people like Joe Biden when he hitched his mast to saying that it was fine for trans women to compete in women's sport. Actually, Americans went, this is nonsense, which is why he lost.
My point is not that nobody cares. My point is that, like, in the grand scheme of things, you're covering a news show, having so many segments about like the fifth place performer in a women's high school swim match. It's like,
who are you to tell? Again, respectfully, who are you to tell me what my running orders should be? What?
It's not about. It's about. Why am I even explaining this? Never mind. It's the magnitude of the problem.
I mean, why should you dictate what
I'm not
is?
telling you what your running order should be. I'm just saying it speaks to the idea that I think that it's creating a fake balance.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
I'm
well,
not trying to create balance.
on the one hand,
I'm not
Trump
trying
got
to
us into a stupid war.
No.
On the other hand, oh my goodness, there was a lacrosse match that had a girl in it in West Virginia.
I used to be at CNN for 4 years. I was on Good Morning Britain for 5 years. And I can tell you, it's exactly the same at those places, right? CNN has a mix of light and shade, serious and silly. Good Morning Britain more so because it was a morning show. The idea that you should only feed people with a diet of what you have deemed is serious and important is one of the reasons mainstream media in particular have been collapsing in popularity, because most people out there don't spend all day obsessing.
We agree on this. You're kind of walking
Trump
past my criticism. You're walking past my criticism because we agree on this. Be silly. It's fine.
Yeah.
The thing is an excessive focus on random crazy liberal shit. There's plenty of random crazy, because I live in Louisiana. Let me tell you, there's plenty of crazy random conservative shit happening in middle schools. But anyway, let's. This is my show, so
I can tell you.
We should talk about Trump.
Of course, but I can tell you, I've done a lot more. For example, a lot more on the Iran war than anything woke related in the last 3-4 months, and I've been incredibly critical.
I bet that's not
of
even
Trump
true.
From the start
I bet
of it.
that's not even true.
I know we'll come to Trump and about balance and so on, but no, very few people have been out there as critical as I have been about Trump, who perhaps people presume would normally slightly slant my way towards him because I know it.
I totally agree. And for the same, and I had Sager and Genty on the show maybe about a month ago, and I said the same thing to him. And it's one thing that's hard for me to do is I don't have Trump bullshitters on my show, and so I'm looking for people who are sympathetic to Trump but are also honest about him, and critiquing about him. And I appreciate that about your show. To that point, let's go back to some Trump thoughts that you've had. But around Thanksgiving, after he was elected, you wrote in the New York Post that he called you and you think he's ready to be one of America's great presidents. You said that you've been struck by the realization that he's a changed man.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how that's looking now.
Not great, because he unfortunately has reverted to type.
And struck by, and you think after he was elected, you wrote that, but around Thanksgiving, let's go back to some Trump thoughts that you've had. But around Thanksgiving, after he was elected, you wrote in the New York Post that he called you and you think he's ready to be one of America's great presidents. You said that you've been struck by the realization that he's a changed man.
Wait. Was this from the last election or from like in 2016?
Yeah.
I'm wondering how that's looking now.
Not great, because he unfortunately has reverted to type. But more.
This is what I mean when I say I can't take any of these people seriously. When they complain about anything that the liberals do, and people are like, well, you got to take a complaint seriously. And it's like, how do you get so much charity for the conservatives to make so many fucking mistakes, but then to still get so much unconditional support for them? It doesn't make any sense. Please make it make sense to me. Because Fauci, I don't even know if Fauci fucked up on the mask thing, to be honest, because I feel like I went to look it up once, and I feel like the claim about him lying about masks actually wasn't even true. But I'd have to go back and look it up again. But, like, assuming that is true, Fauci made one mistake ever and about masks, and that was enough to discredit, like, a lifetime of work in public health, epidemiology, and everything else. Meanwhile, the conservatives spoke up so many times, and people like Piers are like, well, I'm ready to give him another chance. Why? Where does all this charity come from?
More worryingly, I think, for his legacy, he has begun to do things which he specifically campaigned on the opposite.
Wow.
You know, not going
the guy
into
who
war
did that
in
the first
the
time?
Middle East, for example.
Bro.
You know, focusing on America first and getting inflation down and so on. Well, why would you launch a global trade war, and why would you go to war with Iran if actually those campaign aims were your priority? It's the opposite. It's going to have the opposite effect, as we've seen. So I think it's unfortunate. You know, I did think that Trump Mark II, particularly after he survived several assassination attempts, I felt, talking to him, he was a bit of a changed character.
Oh,
but, you know, there's also the reality check. He's just turned 80.
I also, like, are people just not equipped to deal with scam artists? Because this is the thing it was said about Trump, it said about Andrew Tate. People will say things like, well, I talked to him, and after talking to him, he actually seemed, like, really genuine. Like, he's a scam artist. Of course. That's how a scam artist works, is if they can talk to you, they'll be able to convince you of anything. This is why you look at things like their track record or what they've said to other people.
Not many people who turn 80 who suddenly become different people. I do think that he has, you know, he's had, I'm sure we'll talk about this, he's had some things which have been great successes, and he's had other things that have been big failures. He's still not even quite halfway, well, how long's he got till the next election? Like 2.5 years. So he's still, you know, he's not even halfway through his second term. He's got time to pivot and change course. The concern I would have if I was advising Trump is that I think it's looking more likely than not he might lose control of the House and the Senate in the midterms. And if that happens, he'll become a lame duck, which will be, for him, about as bad as life gets.
What does that even mean? Trump has made himself a lame duck, and that he doesn't even use his Congress anyway. He does everything through the White House. What does that even mean? What does he need Congress for? They won't pass anything he wants anyway. He can't, like...
With the World Cup happening this month, I keep coming back to one thing. Every athlete out there has a whole team tracking everything regarding their health. Biomarkers, recovery sleep, whether or not you kick the ball or the grass, if you're the goaltender, the USA, when the ball heads your way. You don't have to play for a national team, though, to deserve that kind of care. I'm not playing in the World Cup. I'm just going to ladies' weights class, but I still want health insights to keep my body working right. Elite athletes don't guess about their health. They measure it, and life demands you at your peak, too. Whether that's your little hit class, basketball at the kids, dancing at music festivals, going for long walks in the New Orleans heat. Same attention pros give their body is finally something the rest of us can have too.
Finally.
So I'm using Function 160 lab tests a year, the kind of full body picture pro athletes pay a fortune for, not guessing, just knowing where you stand so you can show up at your best. Check your health the way I do. Function provides 160 plus lab tests for just $1 a day. And member pricing on advanced imaging. Join at functionhealth.com/thebulwark and use code thebulwark25 for a $25 credit. This is a frustrating thing, though, for some of us. You know, they'll get accused of having TDS, saying that we only want to talk about Trump. It's like, you've known Trump for so long. And you've known Trump for longer than I have.
Oh, thank you.
How
are you surprised?
His number the first second I saw him talk about politics. He is the most obvious person in history.
Yep.
Like, he is not at all subtle.
Nope.
He's not changed at all, actually.
Correct.
Since the 1980s, he's been the same. Maybe he's a little bit less of a woman hound now. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's not working as well or whatever. He has different interests. But like, besides that, like, he hasn't changed at all. Like, he's the same.
Hot take. I don't even think Trump was a woman hound. He comes across, actually, I guess, like Hassan. I think that when Trump was like having affairs and fucking porn stars or whatever, I think he just liked the idea of it because he's like, oh, everybody wants this woman. Oh, I'm having an affair with this woman because she's hot. I bet he wasn't even fucking these women. I bet those kids aren't even his.
And so how did he run for president 3 times and have smart people like you get tricked by him again?
Over and over and over and over and over again.
He's Trump. He's Trump.
Well, because actually he can be quite mercurial in that sense. And I do think, I mean, certainly the conversation I had with him a week after he got shot, he was definitely sounding so unlike the Donald Trump I knew. He actually sounded quite vulnerable in that conversation. I was quite startled. And I really did believe that he was, second time round, he would do things differently, but would be more.
This is the question that you need to ask next, okay? If Tim asks this, I will donate my whole life savings and everything I have and will ever make to the bulwark if he asks this next. When somebody gives you an answer like this, you go, okay, fine, I accept all of that. What are you changing in your worldview going forward so that you don't make the same mistake again? Because clearly you missed something huge that a bunch of other people that you claimed were delusional were actually seeing. You missed this thing that everybody else was saying, and you called all those other people delusional. And you were the delusional one, right? By your own admission, you were delusional. So what are you going to change going forward so you don't fall into the same con man trap again? That's what I would want to hear.
Mindful of his legacy, having been given a second chance. I mean, the interesting question I'd throw back at you, Tim, is do you think that the way that you guys on the left went after Trump in that first term and during his 4 years in the wilderness, a lot of it legitimate, a lot of it bullshit.
Really?
But do you think the intensity of the rage against Trump, the TDS, if you like, actually contributed to him being re-elected? Because I do. So I felt at the time it was self-defeating. I felt the fact that so many on the left thought it was quite normal to call Trump the new Hitler and call
including J.D.
Nazis
Vance
and so on was utterly
J.D.
self-defeating.
Vance, Vice President, by the way.
Say it, I know J.D. Vance called him a Nazi. Oh. Yes. That was wrong too. But the point I would make is if actually all you had done as a collective body on the left to pick Trump off about stuff that he got wrong and focused on policy rather than rhetoric, I think you would have been more successful. And I don't think you would have won second time round.
So here's the problem with that, Piers. Fair. I mean, obviously, it's irrefutable point because he got back in. So obviously, whatever we did was not successful.
Right.
Sure. But my counterpoint to that is, okay, what do you want me to do? Be a liar? Yeah. Shine his turds? Pretend like he's something that he's not? I mean, look, if the honest truth is, everybody who goes in to work for Trump and then has a falling out with him and leaves sounds like me. In the end, I mean, John Kelly, thought he's a fascist. Mattis, Scaramucci, we could go down the list. They all sound like me because I'm saying the truth about it.
Yeah.
And so, like, what else am I supposed to do? Like this idea that I'm supposed to like hand it to him from time to time. It's like, oh, he did a good job.
Let me do a test. Tell me one good thing Trump has done.
Warp speed.
I love that you're trying to take the host seat back from me again. That's good. It's a skilled move.
Cringe.
Go on.
It is. It's fruit from a rotted tree is the answer to the question.
Well, give me one.
Let me. So here are the two things that people say.
Like this is the this analysis is brain dead. Like it's like asking like not to be dramatic, but I am dramatic. Like okay, fine, you were raped, but like what's one nice thing that you felt when the guy was raping? He must have done, I doubt every single touch, every single thing couldn't have been bad. There must have been some possible part of that felt good, right? Like, that's the issue, is that Trump dispositionally is an anti-democratic authoritarian. I hate giving those like terms to him because he's so fucking retarded ideologically. I don't even know if he has the capacity for these thoughts. But like, why are you asking me to pick out one good thing from a guy who seems so oppositional to American democratic values at his core? Like, you're missing the point so much to find one good thing. Like, you're missing the point so much to look for one good thing. It's so stupid.
Would say.
What would you say? Not people. What would you say?
The Abraham Accords is something that people say.
No.
That's turned out to be a shit sandwich.
Oh, true.
No, I think everything has turned out to be a shit sandwich.
Yeah. So what do you think he's done that's been good?
Nothing.
Yes.
Well, there we go. So there we go. So right there, I'm afraid, is a classic example of a clear symptom of Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay, well, what do you think he's done that's good? Let's go back.
You should flip it back. Well, or you could do this with any bad thing. What was one good thing about slavery? Was it really everything about slavery was bad? What was one good thing? Like, you could do this with literally anything ever.
Let's obviously shutting the southern border to stop millions of people.
Let's debate that. But I think that's totally wrong. America is a free country. You're an immigrant. Honestly, I'm not sure if you're so happy about his border policies, why you think that your show should be allowed to be played on YouTube in this country.
Because I came because I applied at like legal people do.
Okay, we're sending people away.
I applied to be a legal worker in the United States.
So did the
I applied
Haitians.
for a visa. Right?
So did the Haitians. The Haitians that have TPS. They did the same
but
thing.
Why would you
We're
be
sending them back. Why don't we should send you back too.
Why would you? I'm here legally when I work in America.
So were the Haitians. So were the Haitians that got temporary protected status. Now we're sending them all back.
Why do you think I disagree with you?
Well, because you just said that his immigration policy was the thing that you think that he's done well.
Stopping millions of people coming over the southern border illegally without going through any process was wrong. It happened under Biden to catastrophic levels. I think Trump closing down the southern border to that extraordinary tidal wave of illegal
immigrants. It was already solved before he came in.
It wasn't already solved. But why can't you just give him credit for doing that?
Because I'll tell you why. It's a fair critique of Biden. I agree with your critique of Biden. The Biden policy got out of hand. Much too late. This is a political criticism of him. Biden went to the Congress and tried to come up with a solution. Trump scuttled that solution, and then he did it via executive order. And the border crossings at the end of 2024, around election time, were nothing problematic. We are a free country. The idea that right now it's preferable to have negative immigration in this country, which is what we have right now. More people are leaving than are coming in. That is horrible for our economy. It's outside of the American tradition. The only people we're letting in are white South Africans. It's fucking crazy. It's un-American and it's wrong. His
I think it's
also
it's also un-American, especially for those who have come into the country legally and done it properly. It's also un-American to just allow millions of people to come in illegally over an open border.
He's brought this up over and over again.
As Ronald Reagan said so clearly,
the TPS stuff
without
was
a
on the
border,
books,
you're not a country. And
Great.
you should
so
agree.
Let's do the
should
Reagan
agree with
and
that.
Obama policies. I liked the Reagan and Obama border policies, not the Trump border policies. So no, do you have any other ones you think he's done well?
Well, okay.
Anything else?
You mentioned Obama as a glimmering, shining light of
deporter
immigration
in chief.
policies. Okay, let me do my favorite question to my liberal friends. How many people did Obama deport in 8 years?
Obama deported a lot.
How many? How many?
He knows.
I don't. I'm not doing the Tucker Carlson Ted Cruz thing. It was millions. It was millions. It was a lot. Yeah, it was millions. It was a lot.
It was 3 million.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the significance of that is that made him pro rata to this day by far the biggest deporter of people in American presidential history. But you cited him as an immigration, shining light.
Because it's not about the policy; it's about the attitudinal disposition. There's no way attitudinal is a real word. Donald Trump. I don't even know what I want to say. Has had racist rhetoric. We've got Stephen Miller, who comes across as a literal fucking Gestapo Nazi with his rhetoric. We've got this desire to ban every brown, Muslim, whatever immigrant from every place, but we're taking white South Africans because we believe Elon Musk's narrative that there's like a white genocide of South Africa. Like, every single thing about this guy's immigration policy is fucking crazy. Why would you just compare his results by the numbers to Obama? It's not the same thing. But I don't know if Piers just doesn't understand that, or he does, because I bet if you would ask him broader questions and test this, he would any question about, let's say that you send a guy on the street who says he wants to kill all black people, and he kills 10 people, and one of those people was a murderer. Would you give him credit for the one guy that he killed? It's such a stupid fucking question.
No, but you cited him as an immigration, shining
Here's why.
light.
He did the thing you said you want, Piers.
Without being
the
evil.
numbers are so great because at the border they came in and got turned around, and that counts as one. What Trump is doing is not only shutting down the border, but also menacing people in cities in the interior of the country
and killing.
And so,
but I don't agree with that. But I don't agree with that. So
but that's what he's doing.
It sounds
That's
to me, unless I misheard you, you just praised Obama for turning people around at the border, but you criticized Trump and said you should
shutting down the border completely.
Because we're a country of free people, you should let everyone in. So which one is it?
Yeah. No, we shouldn't let everyone in.
Does it depend who the president is?
Piers.
Who said
I didn't say we should let everybody in.
Who said that?
Said
no one has said that
if
ever.
you just look at it in whole, you're talking about the number of people Obama deported. Sure. We also were letting people into the country, as we should during the Reagan. This was bipartisan during Reagan.
I don't disagree.
Bush, Obama, and that's great. And we should have an immigration process. And by the way, Obama tried to go to the Republicans back then and tried to cut a deal where we let dreamers stay in the country. And the Republican hardliners that turned into Trump were the ones that stopped comprehensive immigration reform. It was my people, the moderate Republicans, that tried to work with the Democrats to have a reasonable immigration policy. That got scuttled time and again by these nativists that don't want anybody in the country. And so my question back to you is, if you look at this from the biggest picture, right? Like, this movement towards nativism that you had in your country and we had in ours, that started with Brexit and then resulted in Trump. We are now 10 plus years into that, over 10 years, over a decade in. If you look back on that and you said, hey, we could go back to 2013 and do this over again and not do that, would you take that deal?
Well, it's more complicated because right in the middle of that, you have a 4-year tenure by Biden, which particularly in relation to immigration was a complete disaster.
Yo, I've got a busy schedule. We're churning out content. We're also parenting. We're trying to have a life. We're trying to, grow a little media company here. So I'm always looking for ways to multitask and save time. I'll listen to another pod to prep for a guest while I'm on the way to get coffee or cooking dinner. We're doing subscription and delivery services so we don't have to go shopping. I don't iron, that kind of thing. We all have our own time-saving hacks for everyday life, but if you're a business owner, you can save time hiring with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter has a new feature that quickly lets you see the most interested qualified candidates first, so you save time by meeting the right people faster. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bulwark. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds qualified candidates quickly, and candidates can tell you in their own words why they're interested in your job. Save time and meet great candidates sooner with ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bulwark. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Bulwark. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Okay, no, I'm not talking about just immigration. I just mean as a project, as a political project. Brexit and Trump are related. We agree on that, right? Like it's this kind of nativist sovereignty, idea on the right, like this nativist right.
Well, I have no problem. I'm not right wing.
Brexit has been a disaster, and Trump's been a disaster, right? They both have failed. Both projects have failed, right?
Well, the Trump project is ongoing. Let's judge it at the end of the second term.
Oh my
is what I would say.
How's the trajectory?
Well, I think it's better to judge presidents at the end of a term. Right? Let's see what he does in the last 2.5 years. I suspect he'll be polarized by what happens.
What about
what he doesn't like? Look at how much time he has to redeem himself. Are we serious? Could you imagine this level of charity given to a Democrat?
Term. Right, let's see what he does in the last 2.5 years. I suspect he'll be polarized by what happens in the midterms.
What about Brexit?
Brexit, my position on that is I voted to remain in the European Union. I didn't think Brexit was a good idea. I didn't trust the people selling it, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage. I thought they were snake oil salesmen. And 10 years later, since that referendum took place, there's been no sign to me of it being anything other than a failure. So my argument to the new incoming Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, the new Labour Prime Minister, who would take his position in a couple of weeks, is if you were to have another referendum, there's nothing stopping you. I reckon you would have a 70% landslide vote by the British people to go back into the European Union.
But why can't you see the same clarity with our failed experiment?
Because even if because I'm not American, so it's your business, not mine. Secondly, if I did think that, it makes zero difference to the fact Trump will remain president as long as he stays alive in the next 2.5 years. So you can't. But the referendum, if you had a referendum aspect to your presidential system, fine. You don't. You elect a president for 4 years, and I think presidents should be judged at the end of 4 years.
Here's my issue, though. You said that you voted for some conservative president or some prime ministers for some liberal in the UK. I used to be a conservative. Part of what attracted me to conservatism was this like kind of small c conservative notion that came from you guys. Was Burkean. This notion that like you don't know exactly when you make a big change, you don't know what the unintended consequences should be. You should make gradual change. You should be prudent. That is in the spirit of Thatcher and the spirit of Blair. What happened with Brexit and Trump wasn't conservative. Like it was arsony. It was an arson. It was like, we're going to blow up this system and try to build a new system in our image. And like, it's just obviously not working in either case.
But I would say in relation to Thatcher and Blair, they both had moments where they blew up too. I mean, Thatcher notoriously over the poll tax, which was one of the most divisive and hated taxation systems that ever came into the country.
That's incremental change,
Hang
though.
on. And then Tony Blair illegally invaded Iraq, which was his legacy and was one of the biggest foreign policy disasters of my lifetime. And I opposed that very loudly as editor of the Daily Mirror at the time. So, even the people I voted for had moments where they blew up. Leaders blow up. They do dumb things, right? The question becomes,
But that's all Trump is blow up, blow up, blow up, blow up.
Yeah,
it's not
but
incremental change.
Where are
It's
all these
tear
wins?
things down. It's Doge.
Yeah, what are
It's
the
we're gonna end
Ws?
USAID. It's all impulsive. It's not conservative. It's not a way to run
It's
a
not
complicated
conservative. I agree with
country.
you. I agree. It's not conservative. And a lot of the things that you don't like about stuff he's done, I would agree with. I just think that to avoid the charge of TDS, you have to find it in your soul to find some things he's done which are correct.
I'm serious.
No, some things are just rotten, though. Some things are some things are just rotten. Like the project is rotten. So it's kind of like, even if like there is something like an element of the project that had a good outcome, it's part of a rotten project.
Yep.
But I blame the left entirely because if you believe that Trump has been a dismal failure, and
Then
is a
why didn't you
rotten
beat him in the
apple and all
election?
the rest of it,
Oh my
well, fine.
God.
You had an opportunity
It's so crazy.
force out your
We get blamed
president,
even for Trump's
Biden,
mistakes.
before it was too late, when he was obviously completely gaga. No one on the left wanted to say what was happening in front of their eyes. And then you left it so late.
He literally
that
did get
Kamala
forced
Harris
out.
got coronated, was clearly totally unsuited to take on Trump, and got the beating that I think she and the party deserved. And my question for you guys now
What did you
is,
learn?
it still remains the big theme on the left is Trump bashing and reacting to every single thing he does, most of which, by the way, he does deliberately to wind you all up. I've been there when he's done it. So what
I'd
you
love
need,
to not talk
what
about
you
him.
need,
Unfortunately,
you
he's the
need-
president.
You
Yeah, he's
need
the
to
president
find
of the United
a new
States.
Clinton, a new Obama, a new Bill Clinton, a new Obama, somebody center left who can galvanize a genuine constituent of Americans to say, I prefer that way to what I have with Trump.
Piers, okay, fine, I agree, but like this, it's offering a clear-eyed critique of the Democrats that I agreed with, while polishing Trump's turds.
No, I'm not polishing Trump's
guess part of the
turds.
part
At
of the
no
problem
point
that
have I
Trump.
polished his
I'm
turds.
sorry. Yes, you did. Yes, you
yes.
were.
Oh, you are.
You said that he was
yeah.
a changed man, that he could be
Yeah.
one of America's great presidents. He
And you
obviously
asked
was
me-
not going to be one of America's great presidents.
You asked me
He won't be.
whether that still
What a-
stood. I said no. But I
And
did
that's before
say
the election.
but I
You're
did
saying it's
say
the Democrats'
I
fault that he's
felt-
in. I'm saying, well, it's partly the fault of the people like you who are polishing his turds during the campaign and making him seem better than he is.
I didn't polish his turds in the campaign. Go back and read what I said. I just felt he would be different second time round, and unfortunately, to date, I don't think he has been.
To date.
He's played to his
But he
worst
still has a
sensibilities
chance.
rather than his
So you're
best.
telling me
Now,
there's still
he
a chance.
has to.
So I'm right again.
There's still a
So
chance,
yes,
though.
but I keep
You
being
might
right
be.
about him.
You might be.
How does that work? How do I have derangement syndrome but
Well-
also keep seeing him more clearly than you?
You might be, but your failure to accept he does anything right is a terrible indication of
What
your
was your
chronic
second
TDS.
one? Did you have a second thing that he's done right besides the border?
I would say that his
tax policy.
You can let me finish. I would say the way he got the remaining hostages out of Gaza for Israel.
Less than Biden, and he definitely didn't do it day one. The war was over. Why does he get any credit? He said he was going to do that on day one, and he didn't. He failed at that. And then it wasn't even as many as Biden got out. It's not even a good thing to.
Israel was a major achievement.
A major
Gaza
achievement.
and the Israel relationship.
Yeah, really?
Well?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the.
I think that part of it's going terribly. But if you ask me, was it good that the President of the United States managed to get those hostages out? I'd say yes.
my God.
And you should give him credit for that.
No, you don't.
And if you can't give him credit for that, you have TDS.
No.
Well, sure, it's good that the hostages are out, but that
It's not
doesn't mean
because
his
of
Israel
Trump.
policy is good. Again, you can have good outcomes underneath bad policies. That's the whole point. Underneath, a corrupt system.
Yeah, look, I think that Trump deserves credit for getting the hostages out, but I think that the decision to go into war in Iran with Israel after Trump was persuaded by Benjamin Netanyahu it would be a good idea has turned out to be a terrible decision. I said that at the start. I believe it today. I think it's got real potential, unfortunately, for Trump to become
Netanyahu
his legacy.
fooled us again.
And
God
I wish
damn it.
he'd never done it.
And across the Middle East, like
that
he just has
goofball.
these corrupt relationships. We don't know if it's financial with Bibi. Obviously, Bibi was influencing him, but we have Qatar's plane now. His son-in-law's in business with the Saudis. How can you prosecute a war judiciously when you're getting paid off by everybody in the region?
Kind of weird.
Well, I think the United States has to do business with
do Hunter
countries.
Biden. Do Hunter
states,
Biden now. Please do
in
Hunter
the
Biden.
Middle
Not
East
the
as
Trump
they do
family
abroad.
doesn't.
Not the
though.
Trump family.
family
Correct.
doesn't have to do
Correct.
business.
That's right.
Well,
You're right.
let's wait and see whether what they're doing is corrupt or not. There will obviously be investigations into this as they were into the Biden family, who seem to be up to
this
their
is
neck in
nothing
it.
like the
Well,
Biden
nothing
family.
happened, though.
Well, you don't think it is. Of course you don't.
I know this.
my
The scale in the
God.
UAE crypto deal is like $500 billion.
Yeah, but you said it. You said it was. Hang on, Tim.
Was Hunter
You said-
negotiating for the
you
country
said-
like Jared Kushner is?
You said it was corrupt. Let's wait and see if anyone ever establishes it was actual corruption.
How could what is more needs to be established? Jared Kushner is not a member of our government. He's negotiating as part of this Iran war while taking money from the Saudi government. That's all established.
Well, I would like to see these things properly investigated, which I'm sure they will be, particularly if Trump
Democrats
loses
win.
the midterms. Then you're going to see all sorts of stuff going on in terms of legal actions and possible impeachments and so on. We know that. But I would also stress to you, how much time did you devote? Maybe you did and I missed it. Did you devote a lot of time to going after the Biden family for the obvious corruption?
How many people went after the Biden family and found fucking nothing? How much time did we waste on the Bidens? How much time did we waste on Hillary Clinton and the emails? How much time did we waste on the Benghazi hearings? Nothing, 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 nothing. Every single thing was a nothing burger. Why isn't that Clinton gate? Why isn't that email gate? Why isn't that Biden gate? Nothing. Mueller gets one shot at a special counsel prosecution. Not only did Trump stymie this at every turn, not only did he fire fucking Comey and everything else, not only did he beg Jeff Sessions, please kill the investigation, please, please. Not only did he fail on all that, Mueller still gave us a ton of credible indictments and gave us convictions that paid for the entire prosecution. Like,
of Hunter Biden having a job at an energy company in Ukraine without any experience? Or did you just conveniently overlook that?
okay, hold on, wait. We have a thing. Hold on.